You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
A new era for American cricket began in 2021.
There it goes into a dive! Walk it!
The rise of cricket was celebrated across the country. Now, with big wickets and even bigger hits, the stars of minor league cricket are back and better than ever.
Primus goes huge!
Don't miss the nation's largest league competing for the biggest prize in American cricket. The Toyota Minor League Championship returns this summer, live on Willow TV.
26 teams with one mission, that is glory. Championship of this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco, where today we welcome you back to Exton Park, Pennsylvania for the second day of this Philadelphia Cricket Festival. It's a mouth-watering affair. It's the New Jersey Stallions up top the table in the Eastern Conference up against the DC Hawks, gunning for a playoff spot. Well, what a day it was on day number one. The Stallions surging the way up to first position in the Eastern Conference, of course, with 2 games in hand. And for the DC Hawks, who picked up an important win yesterday, they now move into 4th place and still have 6 group stage matches remaining for a chance, of course, to break into that top 2. Earlier, the 2 captains, Jasdeep Singh and a new captain for the DC Hawks, Jaskar Malhotra, were in the middle. We know the importance of the toss, especially on these synthetic surfaces. Malhotra winning the toss, calling right, well, Jasdeep Singh calling wrong in the end, and Malhotra winning the toss, batting first. So the DC Hawks going back to that remedy that works so well for them. Well, every day, every game, we've had fantastic insight and analysis coming from our friends at the MLC Network, and one man in particular, the great Nate Hayes. I'm so happy and privileged to announce that Nate is actually alongside me today. Nate, welcome, of course, to the minor league. So great to have you in person. Yesterday, we saw so much action. What can we expect from a pivotal day 2 in this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship?
Well, first of all, it's awesome to be here with you. I've enjoyed your comms all season. But we can expect the DC Hawks bowling attack to be as good as they've been all year. Yesterday, we saw them up close. They didn't disappoint at all. They took 10 wickets. Pronto Ahmed and Sarvjit Lada combined for 7 of those against the Cavaliers. And Jaskar and Malhotra provided a wicket and then provided the batting that the team has needed. New Jersey Stallions once again found a way to win, as they have all season, and Sachin Mailavarapu once again struck early, taking wickets with his first 2 balls. Anthony Bramble fired away from the top, and Jesse Singh and Ray Ramradan steered the ship home, and they won late against Philly. Now, they're not going to want to take the game that deep this time because of how deep DC bowls, so they're going to want to bat even better than they did yesterday.
Yeah, one change for the DC Hawks, a big one actually. The captain, Bipul Sharma, misses out for Junaid Nadir. So, interesting change for the Hawks. And then for the Stallions, well, they are unchanged in this matchup. No surprises really, given the way that they went about their business, chasing all that 141 against the Philadelphians late yesterday. So you can see a very strong all-round team with the likes of a Mukamala in the top order, Anthony Bramble, who got runs, and then with the bowling attack of a Nino Henry, who they brought in from the Caribbean, and of course Jesse Singh, Raymond Ramratan, Manoj Acharya, who's been the leading wicket taker for them. Nate, obviously we've had some real fantastic players on display over the weekend. If you had to pick 2 players from each team that you would choose to watch in this encounter, who would that be?
Well, I would take Jesse Singh, because they're going to need him to bowl well from the front. And also, I think he's done a great job captaining this team over the last couple of seasons. I think he's underrated as a captain. I love watching him play.
Then from the Hawks, who would that?
From the Hawks, you know, I was going to say Jaskar Malhotra, but I'm going to go with Ritwik Behera, because if he can keep up how he did yesterday, he's a young, promising batter. I love that they're giving him more chances, and I'd love to see him keep things going.
Yeah, Ritwik Behera got a good start yesterday. 41 it was from, 45 from just 40 deliveries, and really was a big part of the Hawks chasing down that 125 in just the 18th over, which would obviously have helped their net run rate. They're a team that still is below that 500 threshold in terms of their win percentage. They're 4-5 in the 9 games, but it's been a rocky up and down start for them today without their captain Bipul Sharma. What do you make of this decision to win the toss and bat first?
Well, it's interesting. Definitely they're going to try to put some runs on the board. I think they're going to try to keep their batting going from yesterday. And they can certainly defend just about anything with this bowling attack.
Well, mentioned Bahira, 45 from 40 deliveries yesterday. And in a partnership with Arsh Aurora was brilliant, and then just set up the game nicely. Even though it was a slow start in the power play, just 29 runs being scored in the first 6. I think these two helped set the platform, knowing exactly what they're chasing. Today, though, a different scenario for them, having to bat first and set a total. Jesse Singh, who's been a revelation with his all-round brilliance, his leadership as captain of this Stallions team, will bowl that brand new ball, as he so often does for the international USA team. 10 matches, 6 ODIs, 40 20s for the USA. He's working and trying to get his way back into that national setup. This minor league will be so pivotal. Ball number 1, here we go. On a good length. Nate, of course, we had such a great day yesterday. The Festival of Cricket here in Pennsylvania. I just think the turnout, you know, the overall atmosphere, all those involved in making it happen was truly magnificent and a great thing for the minor league.
Definitely. You're talking to the right guy. Being down in Morrisville all the time, seeing the crowds down there, we have a reputation for kind of being the best community in the USA as far as fan support. But I saw that yesterday here in Philadelphia.
Testing the defense early on, Jesse Singh, is what we would like to see from your experienced bowlers. It's a bit of aggression as well. He's a fun player to watch, Jesse Singh, just involved in all aspects of the game, especially now that he's got a captaincy. If you can spend some time on Jesse Singh, Nate, you're a very keen follower of USA cricket. Jesse Singh, a man that's played 10 international matches for the USA. He was just involved in the setup in that Houston Challenge early in the year, but unfortunately was left out for the series against Nepal in the USA, and then also for the T20 World Cup qualifiers. Again, unable to score. Obviously, it's a tough seam attack to break into with the likes of Rusty Theron, Nachavalkar, and others, Ali Khan. How does Jesse Singh work his way back into the USA team?
I think he does it by doing what he does for this New Jersey Stallions team, by being a reliable bowler with a good economy, and by being, you know, a good cricket mind. I think his captaincy for the team this last 2 seasons is really helping to add to his game.
Of course, tons of action in this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship today. 10 matches around the country happening for you in both the Pacific and Atlantic Conference. We're starting things off here from Exton Park with this matchup, the Stallions up against the Hawks. Oh, come across the stumps a long way. Ritwik Bahira. Still, this is good pressure being built by the Stallions. Yet to score, the DC Hawks. And even though they're a team that starts slowly, usually, you still want to get some runs off the bat and make use of the power play. Down the leg side, height may have been a problem.
They've struggled scoring runs this year. They had a weekend where they lost 2 games where they couldn't chase 110 or something. But with the presence of Jaskar and Malhotra, they know that they can make up runs at the end of the innings.
Another dot delivery. 5 dots now for the DC Hawks. So Jesse Singh, this is an excellent start from him in terms of what he's been able to do. Very simple in his planning. Likes to run up in terms of just be very methodical in his approach. And of course today, 1 change for the DC Hawks. Bipul Sharma missing out, the captain. I think I've seen him though. I saw him in the dugout. I wonder what's the issue. That would be a big loss for them. A man with over 100 T20 matches. What a first over it's been for the New Jersey Stallions. Excellent start. Made an over. None for none.
Excellent over from Jesse Singh there. You asked me, how does he play his way back in the team with overs like that? Ritwik Bahira is no slouch. He's actually represented USA against Ireland just back in December. The men's team, he's a U19 player on the USA U19 setup. Excellent cricketer. I'm so happy to see him getting these chances from DC, but it's bowling like this that's going to get Jesse back in the team.
Yeah, Jesse Singh will be very happy with that first over. I'm also intrigued to see how he manages himself in terms of how many overs does he bowl with that new ball? A lot of options for this Stallions team, especially with seam on the ball in terms of Nino Henry. Obviously, they have the likes of Manoj Acharya, who's been a real good addition for them. 14 wickets he's picked up, Acharya. This man, though, Sachin Mailavarapu, I remember watching him in the finals weekend last year on turf surfaces at Church Street Park, your home base, Nate. He was brilliant and was a big reason why they were able to be runners-up of the 2021 championship. This year, a slightly different role, bowling with the new ball. It's a tough challenge inside the power play, but he's done brilliantly. 2 for 9 yesterday in his 4 overs.
He has performed every time I've watched him. He represented Singapore as a U19. I asked him, you know, they're currently playing in the Challenge League in Canada right now, Singapore. Tim David is a Singapore representative. So I asked him why he isn't playing for them. You know, it's very difficult to play associate cricket as an international. You have to travel around a lot. You have to try out for the team, and it's just a difficult thing with his current schedule.
Mightily impressed with what I've seen from the left-arm spinner. Down the track early on, Neil Narvakar will get it over the infield. It's not the quickest of outfields, so got to really earn your runs. Narvakar didn't get off yesterday, did spend some time at the crease before he was dismissed. That's what they like to do. They like to just ensure they have that platform. Interested to see the plan, though, from Mailavarapu. As the spinner inside the power play, you're allowed only 2 fielders outside the circle, the 30-yard circle. You can see a packed offside field for the left-handed Behera. And then, of course, with the ball spinning into him, he's got the sweeper in the leg side. Great fielding. Again, a team that just prides themselves so much on their fielding effort to create pressure. So the long on and deep mid-wicket, 2 in the onside on the boundary. Again, this time, though, punched well. Should just be a couple of runs. I like the aggressive move from the captain to have a slip in place.
Looks like another beautiful day here at Exton Park. We had an amazing crowd out here yesterday, and the clouds were gorgeous, weren't they?
Yeah, it was a really picturesque day for cricket in terms of even the cricket itself. It was a joy to watch. Real entertainment, hoping to get a big turnout at Exton Park again today. We've seen this approach from the DC Hawks, Nate, pretty much throughout the tournament, where they've been very slow starters in the power play. Now, whilst that can build your platform, and it's a thing we see from the likes of a Silicon Valley Strikers team, because of the amount of depth they have, with this DC Hawks team, a team that's really struggling and need wins desperately at this stage, is that the right approach in the power play with just 2 fielders outside the circle? Yesterday, they only got to 29 runs, less than 5 runs and over in the first 6.
Well, it hasn't worked for them so far because they haven't had any great finishing batting. Now that they have Jasker and Malhotra, they might just go.
He was great to watch, the USA International. Jasker Malhotra, 13 not out from 16 deliveries. Not only did he help them get over the line, but he did it quickly as well to ensure that they get that net run rate boosted. It's such a tightly contested Eastern Conference. Here has been very tentative. Gotta go, gotta hurry back. Interesting, direct hit could have been interesting. But he gets home in the end. Behera yet to get off the mark in 9 deliveries. It's been a superb over, though, from Mailavarapu. Just 5 conceded, 5 for none.
Just one, yeah?
Well, a long batting lineup. Arsh Arora got a start yesterday. A good little innings from him. So Jesse Singh will bowl again for the Stallions. Been an interesting approach, though, the way he's used Mailavarapu. Yesterday also bowled the second over, but he has liked to use him very sparingly inside the power play. looking for early wickets. Always a big risk bowling your spinners, but he really believes he backs his young spinner. A plethora of bowling options for Singh to choose from. Obviously, Nino Henry picked up 3 wickets. He's got 5 in his first 2 games. Man from Antigua. Nino Narvakar, though, important for him, sort of just to take on the game a bit. Last couple of games, hasn't gotten any substantial scores. Nate, it's very interesting to see the development of Ritwik Bahira. He played 2 T20 internationals for the USA at the end of 2021. And he's known as an opening batter, but he's actually batted at number 4 in those games for the USA. How do we manage, if you are, the USA selectors and that management team, you have so much of this young talent popping around the country, popping up, sorry. How do you manage someone like a Ritwik Bahira?
Well, it's very difficult. There are many good openers in the USA setup, so you have to be versatile. You have to be able to bat anywhere.
This finally goes. The shackles are broken. Narvakar is able to get it over mid-on, but still no real power, no timing. So just be a couple of runs. Yet to score a boundary. You were saying about Bahira.
Yeah, it's tough to crack the team right now as an opener. Another player in this game who has cracked the team as an opener is Sai Mukamala. So it's a very difficult role to get in, and USA could use finishers. So it is a good idea for them to try to develop finishers. Now, obviously, the minor league teams are going to play the players where they help the team the best.
In the air. For a minute, I thought it was in the air. Thought it was a chance of a catch being taken, but Jesse Singh just walking back to his mark. It's been a good spell from him, though, in his first 9 deliveries to just concede the 2 runs in this over. Anthony Bramble just tricking me there, as any wicketkeeper would. Screams for catch it. The ball just has to leave the ground by an inch for a wicketkeeper to say catch it. Happens so often in this game of cricket. Tries again this time. There is that deep third fielder in place. You can see what Jesse Singh is trying to do, though. Be very wide. Neil Narvakar is a man that likes to go after the bowling, especially when it's very close to him. Making him reach, sort of eliminating that power game from him. This is good bowling and a good start from the Stallions.
Excellent. They're not getting runs off the bat. They're not coming off the bat. They're not flying off the bat right now. The runs they're getting are almost accidental. So this is excellent stuff from Jesse Singh here.
Almost playing on to his stumps, but it will be runs for Ritwik Bahira. And again, that slow outfield playing a part. Always so fascinating to see when the ball is inside edge, because it could easily go back onto your stumps.
Yeah, and you mentioned the slow grass. This is a typical American cricket ground. This is actually, it's very attractive ground. But yeah, in the USA, we're used to a faster wicket and a slower outfield. And, gradually we'll change that to a more, to a ground that's more beneficial to learning how to bat correctly. But in the East, we have a lot of thick grass. Players like to try to take the ball deep, try to hit it over the boundary.
Bahira, 2 is the call. And he's coming back. Good running by the youngster to get back. Got to take the game on, show a bit of extra impetus. End of the 3rd over, 12 for none.
Yeah, so that's 12 runs from the first 3 overs. Could easily be about 4 runs. They've gotten a little bit lucky, DC have. They haven't hit Jesse at all. Any runs they've gotten against him have been pretty much pure luck.
Nino Henry will come into the attack for the Stallions. First change of bowling for Jesse Singh. Henry, a man from Antigua, and definitely a young prospect coming out of the West Indies, would have just represented the Leeward Islands in the first class system just a couple of months ago. Watched him in the Cool and Smooth T20, was impressive back in Antigua, captaining the new Winthrop Lions. 5 wickets so far in his first 2 games. A good start for him. Yesterday was very expensive, but he picked up 3 important wickets.
Yeah, he looked a little bit wild yesterday, but how about Antigua? Such a small place, developing so many good cricketers.
Yeah, plenty actually playing in this minor league. Raheem Cornwall is another one who's obviously representing the Atlanta Fire. It's been a real treat to have him competing in this tournament.
And you mentioned the Cool and Smooth. Kareem Agor was fantastic in that.
Kareem Agor, another important player who actually plays at this ground. Gore with his all-round ability, suffering an injury, a big one for the Philadelphians, because he was brought in for his all-round ability with both in all 3 facets of the game, really, because he's a gun fielder. But an injury to that leg is keeping him out of action. Henry's done well so far. 3rd match for him. 5 wickets. He can bat as well. He's only got 8 runs so far, but he definitely is very capable with the bat in hand. Narvakar looking to go big, but of course, Nino Henry having protection in deep at long on. 2 fielders outside the circle for Henry. The long on in place, which is sort of an unorthodox fielding position for a seam bowler inside the power play. But I think it tells you he wants to be very aggressive. To Ritwik Bahira, though, Dominic Ricky, whose position at long on is going to come into the circle. He's got that man at deep fine leg. Of course, with the left-right combination, forces you to make some changes. It's interesting he got a deep point as well for Bahira, the left-hander. And he's bowling, well, actually, sorry, it's Bahira, the right-hander on strike. In the air, should be taken. Should be an easy catch for the captain. And that's reward for some persistent, disciplined bowling from the New Jersey Stallions. There's such a well-constructed lineup. Just being patient and seizing the opportunity.
And DC will have wished they were a little bit more patient themselves.
It was a good delivery from Nino Henry, which just deceived Ritwik Bahira, who's gone for a miserable 4. He would have been disappointed with that after getting a start, building a platform for himself. The Hawks need to build from that. 13 now for 1.
So Nino already in the wickets today. Excellent stuff from him so far in his minor league cricket career.
Well, Harsh Arora comes to the middle. Man who got 39 not out, was pivotal in them chasing that 125. And he'll join Neil Narvakar. I think just what pressure does to your halfway inside the 4th over. No boundaries being hit as yet by the DC Hawks. Ritwik Bahira may have just felt that pressure. And it was a good delivery from Nino Henry. Watch the length. Just not too full. And Bahira seeing that mid-on up in the circle. And trying to take on that fielder. Good planning from Henry and Cole. Massive West Indian influence in this Stallions team as well. Unable to get it past Mukamala. Good work again in the field by the Stallions. Nate, something we've seen pretty much throughout all the teams is a big international influence. When you look at this Stallions team from the West Indies alone, I mean, Dominic Ricky, who's born in Guyana, Bramble, Paul Palmer from Jamaica, Nino Henry from Antigua, Ram Rattan, who has got Guyanese roots. So because of our global partners like a Toyota, Sunoco, Dafa News, we're able to bring the talent from overseas, which can filter in with those local players and help develop the game and the sport of cricket.
And not just a big international flavor in this team. A lot of USA players play for this team. A lot of former and current USA players. Ray Remrotten played for USA U19. Dominic Ricky has represented USA in and out of the team. Jesse Singh in and out of the team. Sai Mukamala, up and coming youngster.
Putting it well is Aurora to get off the mark. 2 is the call, but Acharya is pretty quick down at that third boundary.
Talking to some of the fans yesterday who were watching cricket for the first time, they noticed how well organized the Stallions are in the field, how good of a fielding team that they are, and it's one of their big strengths. They're a very difficult team to score on.
Well, of course, Nino Henry looking to close out this over well. Just conceded the 3 runs and picked up a vital wicket. Crafty, very crafty from Neil Narvakar. And he'll pick up the first boundary for the DC Hawks. Just waited on it, helped it along its way. No third in place for the power hitter. Finally able to get underway in terms of the boundaries column.
Whoa, look at that shot. That was a great shot there. Got cramped for space, and he took it to third man. Very good shot.
And just opening the face and positioning it over Mukamala at that short third position. It will end the 4th over with a boundary, 19 for 1. A decent start for the Stallions. The Hawks, though, knowing that they've got depth, of course, without Bipul Sharma, their captain today, who's been replaced by Junaid Nadir. A lot will be on the shoulders of Jaskar Malhotra, the international player. Of course, he will need to play a part. He's already got 2 substantial scores for this team. 30 not out in just 16 balls yesterday.
Towards you, a little bit. One more. Yes, no.
And here comes Manoj Acharya into the attack. He has had a great last couple of weeks. He's been an excellent addition to this fast bowling attack from the Stallions, who are very deep at this position of a fast bowler.
14 wickets already in his first 9 games for Acharya. And well on course to go past his 2020 tally, 2021 correction. Just picked up the 20 wickets in 2021 for the Manhattan Yorkers, but since he's come to this Stallions team, he's been a real revelation for them. The way he's gone about his work at the top of the innings, and then being able to come back in the depth for 2 important overs 17 and 19. Never easy. Nate, yesterday, you did some fantastic work in the field. You were going around this Exton Park ground and explaining the game of cricket to a lot of the new fans. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, there were a lot of curious people here. First of all, Philadelphia did an excellent job getting the word out, and so it was great to hear about where these people had heard about this event. And some of them heard about it from Facebook, other advertising avenues, but they were very impressed with you know, how beautiful the ground was. It was a nice day. That helps a lot. But they loved the action. They loved you know, every ball something happens.
Likes to hang on that back foot, Neil Narvakar. Very late player of the ball. I just find it so fascinating, you know, to see the way that the game is growing in this country. And then for you to be, you know, going around the grounds. Literally, I saw you with a sort of a diagram with small points just to explain the game of cricket to many that will be probably more used to baseball. Those born in the United States. Fantastic work, Nate. You deserve a lot of credit for it.
Well, thank you very much. I still love baseball, and I love kind of comparing and contrasting the two sports.
On the front foot this time. Hasn't quite got it. Will be a tough catch and is dropped. Always tough when you're running back. Ball coming over your shoulder. Hiran Patel it was. You'll be disappointed, the Stallions, but just love to see the pride that they take in every single delivery. Always running, always chasing. Such a good fielding unit.
And Manoj already with almost a quarter chance there, I guess. I mean, creating potential wickets already. The big thing for him this year is he's done so well. He's done better as the season went on.
Very good. Again, from Acharya on the money. Of course, Acharya was so good to watch 2 games ago against the Empire State Titans, where he picked up 4 wickets for 36 runs. Picked up 2 wickets in a single over.
And I believe he took 3 wickets the game before that. So he's on quite a streak. Last season for Manhattan, he started off hot and kind of dried up.
Also another challenge when you bowl as a seamer on these synthetic surfaces. You don't get a lot of sideways movement. You know, there's no green grass. So with that cement under this synthetic matting, the ball comes on nicely to the bat for batters. So you have to be very meticulous in your length. I tell you, T20 cricket, especially on these surfaces, a batsman's game. Again, pushed back, forcing him back. Just 2 runs have come off this over and just 21 runs conceded so far. At this rate, the Stallions will be very happy keeping them to under 4.5 runs per over, even though they've got 9 wickets in hand. That will end the 5th over. Nate, thanks so much for joining us. 21 for 1.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
My son is so soft-spoken. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
All good, one more still, yeah.
So 21.
Thank you.
So 21 for 1, 5 overs gone. Welcome, Brian. A lot of good games here. Stallions on for the second game this weekend at Exton Park. Welcome, Brian.
Good morning, Lenny. Good morning, everyone. These are all crucial games at this point as the playoff picture here in the Eastern Division begins to take shape. The New Jersey Stallions leading the Manhattan Yorkers by a full game. We'll see the Yorkers a little bit later on today taking on the hometown Philadelphians. Might those be the 2 teams that represent this Eastern Division in the finals weekend beginning August 20th? We'll know that probably a little bit more between now and the end of the day.
So lots of good cricket left in the day, Brian. We've seen some top level cricket. We've seen Stallions doing exceptionally well again, and they come into this game with DC Hawks. DC Hawks will probably need to get a lot more points than they are at the moment. Nino Henry will continue. We've seen a very good bowling start from the Stallion again. And the fact is, Brian, you look at Arsh Arora, very contrasting styles of the batters out in the middle. Neil Narvakar, we've seen the intent to score quickly. And Arsh Arora, perhaps a little bit more passive.
It's good to have a good combination like that in the crease, especially so early in the innings here as the power play draws to a close.
So ball worked into the onside. That's a good-looking shot from Arsh Arora. Look at that. It will go away for 4. So 4 runs off the bat of Arsh Arora. And that's a good-looking shot from the DC Hawks player.
Very good, and especially in a situation where they're trying to put on a good total towards the end of this power play. Sent that one well past long on and through into the intense side of the ground where there are people over there intense.
So powerful bowling attack supported by the Stallions. We've seen the likes of Jesse Singh already. We've seen Myla Varapu. We've seen Manoj Acharya. 4th bowler being used here, Nino Henry. You served them well so far. Arsh Arora, good looking shot for 4. And the DC Hawks looking for points here against the Stallions.
Especially off the bowling of Henry, who had a 3 for yesterday, 3 for 42 from his 4 overs. Probably a little bit more expensive than he would have wanted to be. But all in all, a good attack and a final ball victory yesterday against the home side. A game played in front of a crowd estimated somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 or so people here. The first day of this Exton, Philadelphia Summer Festival.
Yes, Brian, certainly one of Exton's biggest day to date, cricket-wise. The Philadelphians, the only disappointment might have been Philadelphians not being able to get over the hill yesterday against the New Jersey Stallions, but they come back today again at 2:30.
Yeah, all these games for these two teams at the top, the Stallions and the Manhattan Yorkers, against these lower division teams, was going to be very, very crucial, as that one is struck down the ground. And it will be fielded. They'll come through for a single. Takes them on to 27 for one. And that's going to be the difference. It was even. This was the only division, I think, of the four where it was pretty close from all the teams coming into this weekend. All 7 teams seem to be in touch, as opposed to some of the other divisions where I think there's 2 or 3 clear leaders, and of course 2 teams yesterday in the Pacific Conference clinching playoff spots. The Silicon Valley Strikers, one of the 2 spots out of the Western Division, and then in the Central Division, the Dallas Mustangs not only clinching a playoff spot, but also clinching the regular season division championship. So that means that they'll be hosting the opening round, as we mentioned, August 20th, and if necessary, August 21st. And they'll play whoever is the runner-up from that Pacific Division, which at this point could be Seattle, could be East Bay, possibly Golden State.
So ball tugged into the onside. We have seen the intent here from Narvakar. Picks up another single. So continuing coverage of the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco.
Stay there.
What a tournament we've had, Brian. It continues to be, and we're just about the halfway stage. So much more to come.
Yeah, it really is. And even though there's, like we said, this picture is becoming a lot clearer. There's some great cricket happening. A lot of competitive games, especially, you know, we talk about the lower teams, but a lot of competitive matches between those sides as well.
So they're running quickly. Good running here from Arsh Arora and Neil Narvakar. That will complete 6. And after 6, DC Hawks, having won the toss, electing to bat. They're batting at 29 for 1.
That's 6, fellas. That's 6 done.
So that's a DC card for you. Winning the toss, electing to bat. Jaskran Malhotra still to come. Junaid Nadir, Nasser Islam, Pranto Ahmed, Franklin Clement. He could give the ball a tap.
A lot of big names on that list, man.
84 balls still to be bowled. Long way to go. We're just outside of the power play.
Jesse, we're already 6 minutes down. Okay?
New Jersey Stallions, they're 14 points. DC Hawks, they're on 8. Which essentially put the New Jersey Stallions at the top of the table, just ahead of Yorkers. They play later on. And the DC Hawks, of course, they are in 4th position, Brian.
Yeah, and every game from here on out, they're going to need to win. And as we said, those lower half of this division, they need to win their games, and they also need to hope that the Stallions and the Yorkers stumble on their way. That's basically the only way that those 2 teams will be dislodged, and it's going to be very, very difficult. We saw New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers do that against the Manhattan Yorkers last weekend in a game that Lenny and company covered for you here on the premium stream of the Minor League Cricket Network.
So Manoj Acharya has stood on his bowling runner for quite a few seconds there, Brian, but he runs in now. Oh, ball turned into the onside. That's a good looking shot from Arsh Arora. In fact, they'll only settle for 1, so this partnership has gone up to 17. And Brian, essentially what happened yesterday, we saw with that loss by the Philadelphians, they've been pushed down to 6th position.
Yeah.
Just ahead of the New England Eagles. Not good for the Philadelphians.
No, and disappointing from them. And a lot of people were tipping them to win this Eastern Division and possibly go even further. But now, just even getting to the playoffs is going to be a Herculean effort at this point. I think of all the players that they've brought in, Trenton Carmichael, Liam Plunkett, of course. But
so Neil Narvakar, very quality player, 164 runs in the season so far. Coming into this game, look at that. He's not only trying to hit the ball, try to get runs, but he's running He's running the singles pretty well. So here's the table. New Jersey Stallions seemingly ahead by a couple of points out of everybody else. And DC Hawks, they're playing here. They're on 8 points.
And you see the Titans there sitting in third, but they only have 3 games remaining in this season. All the teams ahead of them, both teams ahead of them, have games in hand. So it's going to be very difficult for them. They're not out of it yet, but their flame is flickering low.
And Brian Manujacharya comes into this bowling attack. Most wickets so far from the Stallions, some 14 wickets now. And certainly with the likes of Manujacharya, we haven't seen Ramratan yet. We've seen Sachin, Jesse. And to know that the likes of Deron Davis can't crack the 11. And Stephen Wigg, who had such an important season last year, can't make the final 11. So ball steered into the offside. Running well is Arsh Arora and Neil Narvakar. Arsh Arora, he's a player that might stick around for some time. Neil Narvakar, he's going to be the man looking to score and score quickly.
Yeah, and that actually goes back to your last point, which is, you know, this team is really, this franchise is really, really built well up and down the track. And we were talking with Matt earlier, who you'll hear in a few overs' time. They don't look at the past. They don't look at how players have done last season. They pick the informed players. If you're doing well, you'll be in the 11.
So ball cut away. They'll get a single down. And you're right on that, Brian. Missing, of course, is Rovman Powell, who has been given the task of the vice captain of the West Indies team. So he's a busier man now.
Rovman Powell, he has an awesome name. So says the jingle.
And then, of course, we made mention of Justin Dill.
Yep. Going
to the West. So what a powerful put-together Stallions team. Manoj Acharya's bowled and over. This has only gone for 4. This has been a quality one from Manoj. Ball flicked into the onside. Looking for runs here is Arsh Arora. Look at that. And that ball runs away for 4. That's a good-looking shot.
Kind of an uncharacteristic to see the ball roll that far for a 4. There was one earlier where I commented that in any other ground it would have been a 4, but that one most assuredly is a 4 as well. And they are 37 for 1.
So a good partnership here, Arsh Arora and Neil Narvakar. They've posted 24 so far. And Brian, still a lot of batting to come. Jaskran Malhotra makes that. Like he bats for 3 or 4 men on cricket teams.
Yeah, and of course, if you're not familiar with him, if you're not familiar with the U.S. national team, of course, putting up that tremendous innings of 179 not out in a World League game last year against Nepal, including 6 sixes. That is essentially, you think of it in baseball terms, coming to the plate 6 times and hitting a home run on the first pitch every time you come to the plate. That is a rarity. It has not happened many times in international cricket. Neither is getting that many runs in a one-day game, and that game was played over 50 overs, whereas the game here today and all the games across the Toyota 2022 minor league cricket season presented by Sunoco are only 20 overs. So that gives you kind of an idea of the force and the prospect that he brings.
So Ramratan comes into the attack. Good looking shot here from Neil Narvakar. And Brian, before we go any further, we would also have to say congratulations to the MLC Junior Champions. And that comes out of the brand of the New Jersey Stallions, winning there in Texas.
That was fun to watch, too. I watched a little bit of that over the course of the weekend and of course of the last week. And it's amazing to see this next generation, how organic and how each of these organizations are doing to grow not just the sport, but also their individual teams. It'll be interesting to see the next generation of players come through.
So chance of a run out, but Aurora makes it back home. Ramartan has bowled well in this series. 9 wickets coming into this game. And we saw Brian yesterday. He almost got a player of the match. I think he was pipped by Anthony Bramble. But last week we saw Raymond Ramartan. Outstanding effort with bat and ball. And he's a quality player, 39 for 1.
Yeah, and they're stacked with them. They're really deep. And we're talking with Nikhil yesterday down the stretch against the Philadelphians about how they bat deep and they bowl deep and they field deep.
Yes!
So ball turned into the offside. We're still looking while UNI is on com. It may happen, it may not. We're still looking for that Dafa shot of the day, or Dafa shot of this game. We've seen a couple of big attempts by Neil Narvakar to probably get into that frame.
Yeah. 20 from 19 so far for Narvakar.
So Arsh Aurora picks up another run, but this partnership has gone up to 28. They've had to contend with some very tidy stuff from the Stallions. It is no wonder they sit at the top of the table with 14 points. Strong bowling side, strong batting side. They have all the boxes ticked.
Yeah, they really do. And again, it goes back to them being as deep as they are, especially in a competition like this.
Oh, that's a good-looking shot from Neil Narvakar. Only get a single. Field is deep, so that will complete over number 8. And after 8, 42 for 1.
Shorten the time between overs, guys. Let's go here, please. Sure? You sure?
42 for 1. As we take a look as the continuing partnership, Narvakar and Aurora. Narvakar up to 21 for 20. Aurora 17 for 17, both of them essentially at a run of ball at this point. On another absolutely beautiful day here in Exton, Pennsylvania. A little less numbers than yesterday, but all the same as Sachin comes into play.
Yeah, Milo Varapu, his first of all, would have gone for 5. Very quality spinner. And as Nathan and Nikhil were talking about earlier on, born in Singapore.
Yep.
And has really come and played some cricket in England. He's a quality spinner, Brian. He has done well in last year's tournament. And so far, he's done well here, too.
One of those, I just love watching the action from that beautiful, galloping, looping delivery.
So ball struck and struck well. That's a lovely shot from Neil Narvakar. And that has gone away for a boundary. Lovely shot, Brian.
Lovely delivery and a lovely 6, as signaled by umpire Brian Kane. Looked like he was heading towards the off stump, but driven nicely and sweetly out towards the creek and into the weeds.
Yeah, that's a lovely shot. What a start here from Narvakar for Sachin's second spell. And a big search party.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And Brian, what happens a lot of times until they'll probably find a ball that was certainly not connected with this game. Might have been one of those other minor league games. This Exton Park has hosted 8 games last year.
Yeah.
We saw 2 in the earlier part of the season. We saw 2 yesterday, so that's 12. This is the 13th game.
Yep, and of course we have the 14th and the 15th, which will be on August 14th. The Philadelphians right back here. And listen, it's a fantastic ground. I don't know if I've mentioned it over the course of the weekend. It looks like they have found the ball, or they haven't.
Well, I think Sachin has the ball in his hand, or maybe not. I did see Paul Palmer. Yeah,
nope,
here we go.
They're bringing out a new one.
Ball replacement, Rashin Samuels, the 3rd umpire. And we got to talk about the umpires. Umpires Mihir Patel, the man on your left, Brian in the middle. And of course, the Sunoco sponsored umpires here. Beautiful shirts, I gotta tell you.
They look good in lavender. Brian Kane, by the way, a well-known umpire. You can't miss him. I mean, he's a very tall man. You see there with the hat, but he also involved in the sport of Australian rules football, if you can believe it. He played for the New York Magpies at one point. So a man after my own heart, that Venn diagram of interest in Aussie rules and in cricket as well. But they're saying this ground, as you say, we're talking to Liam Plunkett after the game that we did last month. He said it will be very English, very pastoral, with the farm in the background.
And Brian Kane comes from an interesting background. He's an American who's picked up umpiring, and he's really moving up the ranks. So that's Brian Kane for you, their quality umpire. I would have traveled last night during the course of yesterday evening, late into the evening, to get to this game. Always a busy man on the weekend.
To quote Lucy Van Pelt, us fanatics are light sleepers, Charlie Brown.
So the DC Hawks are locked in a battle here with the Stallions. Stallions on 14 points. Ball driven here by Neil Narvakar. And Brian, it's interesting to note that a couple of losses for the Stallions have been at the hands of the Manhattan Yorkers.
The team that's right behind them. And but it's been their performance in the other games that has kept them on top. Of course, we mentioned the Yorkers losing last weekend to the New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers, a team that saw their 4-game win streak snapped at the hands of these DC Hawks.
So he comes down the track and he's gone. So on the stroke of going to 4.5 century here for the team, Arsh Arora goes and Sachin strikes 49 for 2.
That's a key wicket here in this early going. It looked like it was coming. Here it is once again as he comes forward, and you can see he's about a good 3 feet outside of his ground, and a great job by Bramble to whip off the bails for the stumping. If we take a look at it again, yeah, it looks like he just got the bails off before he put the ball down. It was a bang-bang play, but rightly called there, at least in our humble opinion. So
Arsh Arora goes is 49 for 2. So Jaskron Malhotra comes to the middle. Top quality player, he's known around the world. When you mention the likes of Herschel Gibbs and his accomplishment, the South African, maybe in that sentence, Jaskron Malhotra comes up somewhere along the line.
Yeah, it really does. And you know, for the U.S. national team to have a player of his caliber in their ranks, I think is very big for this program. And you have to feel that, you know, as close as they've come to making the T20 World Cup this year, of course, falling just one hurdle short. And as competitive as they've been in the World League 2 in prospect of making next year's ODI World Cup.
So Malhotra gets off the mark, brings up the 100 here. In fact, brings up the 50 for the DC Hawks.
He meant 100 divided by 2.
And it comes into the 9th over. We have seen a quality over so far from Sachin Mailavarapu, just 8 runs off this over. Would have taken the wicket of Arsh Arora, and there you go, lovely outfield. What a scene to behold here at Exton Park. A lot of spaces, and we've seen excellent cricket. Sachin Mailavarapu will continue. Another wicket goes down. Narvakar straight into the hands of Hiren Patel. And another wicket goes down on the stroke of 50. Narvakar gone, 50 for 3.
1 begats 2, and he struck the ball. It was what we call an atom ball, right at him to the right. He had to move just a couple of steps to his left. As we see it again, the ball coming over the wicket. He gave himself a little bit of space. He went pretty wide, but drives it right to the man at mid-off. And at the end of the 9th, the Hawks are 50 for 3.
Move quick, fellas.
So the keeper comes to the middle, Franklin Clement. And he comes in here with the departure of Neil Narvakar's wicket. They're 3 down for 50 on the board. Jaskran Malhotra has just scored 1 run off the only ball that he has faced. And Myla Varapu is bowling a 2 for 13 at the moment. Good quality stuff from the leg spinner. So here we go, Narvakar very tamely into the offside. What a catch here from Hiran Patel. And that's an excellent catch. Hiran Patel himself a keeper. Oh, another wicket goes down. And this time it appears to be Franklin Clements. Yes, he's gone. It's 50 for 4.
Yeah, and he goes for a golden duck as he hits this one almost to the same exact spot that Narvakar got out on, went down on one knee to send this one just a little bit further out, as that one was taking it long off. And so Clement has to go for a golden duck.
No, that's Malhotra.
Oh, that is Malhotra. My apologies. So it is Malhotra who goes. And so that is a huge, huge wicket. Malhotra caught Henry, bowled Ramartan for 1. They are 50 for 4.
Let's go, keeper. Let's go. One more down, that means America. Let's go, keeper. That's no 50 before you, man. No, 4.
So Pranto Ahmed will come to the strike in at number 6. With the DC Hawks floundering, just 50 runs as we approach the halfway mark of this innings. And for Jaskran Malhotra, not really giving the Hawks the production as he just gets out for 1 as we take a look at it again, and just did not get enough of this one. Right in front of the dugouts, Henry makes the catch. Great job by Nino Henry, who, of course, we mentioned, took a 3 for yesterday against the Philadelphians.
So Ramaratan striking big and will come into bowl to Pranto Ahmed. So Stallions all over the DC Hawks. We've seen 50 posted on the board, but 50 has not been a very good number for the DC Hawks. A couple of wickets falling on 50. So they have a stranglehold on the DC Hawks. Jaskran is gone. Neil Narvakar, he's out for 28. Ritwik Berra for 4. Arsh Arora for 17. And so far it's been a Stallions show for the time being, Brian.
Be interesting to see where more runs will come from.
One side.
So ball cut away here by Franklin Clement. Continuing coverage of the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Continues here at the beautiful Exton Park. Not forgetting DAFA News. You want to catch up on all what's happening in the minor league cricket world. DAFA News is a good source.
Of course, as we reach the tail end of the season, as they come through for another single, which teams will cross the finish line and head into the playoffs, and which teams will run out of gas.
Yes, Brian, and we'll see who will go places,
yes,
as Toyota will say. So this has been a quality over here from Raymond Ramartan. We've seen 3 runs in this over, and the big wicket of Jaskran. So that will complete a quality over from Raymond Ramartan. So 10 gone, 53 for 4.
That's leg.
So another big appeal here. As the action continues. Narvakar bowling at 53 for 4. We are in the 11th over. Shouts of catch it to the man at the slip. Ball would not have come off the bat. So welcome Matthew into the box. Matt, we've seen a very good showing again from the Stallions. And you look at the scorecard, 54 for 4. This has been a good showing again from the Stallions.
Yeah, they've been on it so far, the New Jersey Stallions. We've seen a bit of a collapse here, though, from the DC Hawks. Wickets falling at 49 and 2 at 50.
Yeah, the quality stuff from Stallions continues to be a big part of their campaign. And Matt, we made the point that, in fact, we made the point that the Stallions would have only lost a couple of games to the Yorkers. What an impressive campaign this year. And DC Hawks, we saw them expecting a big innings from Jaskar and Malhotra, never happened. And Matt, when you look at the DC Hawks, we saw a lot of departures this year.
Yeah, much different looking DC Hawks side. Obviously the likes of... So another appeal here by the Stallions. This is very good bowling continuing here by Sachin Mailavarapu. And that reaction says it all. Close one again. But yeah, they've lost the likes of Ravinder Singh Mehra, who would have been a crucial member of this side given the amount of batting collapses we've seen from the Hawks. Also in terms of their bowling, the likes of Karimullah, Dane Pete, Abdul Jabbar, no longer there, Abdullah Ghazi.
This has been a quality over here from Sachin Mailavarapu. The boys continue to bowl well. So 11 over gone. DC Hawks, having won the toss, electing to bat first. They're batting at 56 for 4.
My son is so soft-spoken. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your trousseau, the 2022 Tundra. Toyota, let's go places.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
So Ramratan will continue, Matt. He's had a very good season. Acharya, Ramratan, Sachin, Jesse. What a powerful put-together bowling lineup. DC Hawks, they're batting at 56 for 4. And Franklin Clement, the keeper.
Franklin Clement comes out and perhaps you'd feel a less than ideal scenario. You know how dangerous he can be towards the back end of an innings, but he's still got to bat 53 deliveries to see the Hawks through, so a bit more of a different challenge for him.
And in fact, this match we've seen, oh, this is a good strike here from Pranto Ahmed. And that has gone all the way. Good looking shot from Pranto Ahmed. That will ease some bit of pressure here from the DC Hawks.
Yeah, great shot indeed from Pranto Ahmed. Losing his balance in the process, but still manages to get enough to go for 6.
So Hawks are fighting back. They're batting at 63 for 4. How much will they miss, or have they missed Sunny Sohal?
Definitely would have provided them a boost in that top order was Sunny Sohal, and even Bipul Sharma who's out with injury, offering that experience and stability in the middle order.
Yeah, we saw Bipul Sharma coming to the ground with a limp.
The good news for the Hawks is that they have brought Junaid Nadir back into the lineup, who we could see coming in next, perhaps. We saw him against the Philadelphians. Really gave the DC Hawks a very good finish towards the back end of their innings.
So the DC Hawks, they're in 4th position. Stallions, of course, as everybody knows by now, they're the #1 seed for the time being. Still games to play. We made mention of host team Philadelphians match. Slipped down the table a bit.
Yeah, the loss against the Stallions yesterday, a nail-biter, didn't help their cause at all.
Pranto comes down the track, not collected here by Anthony Bramble. And the tidy bowling still continues here from the Stallions. They've done so well during the course of this tournament, and even last year, Matt, take a look.
Yeah, Pranto Ahmed looking for another one of the shots we saw him play earlier. And Anthony Bramble, had he held on to that, would have been an easy stumping for him. Pranto has shown intent, though. Not afraid to take on Ramratan, and there we go. That one, a shorter one from Raymond Ramratan, and given the treatment again from Pranto Ahmed. Another huge strike from him, and it's turned out to be a big over for the DC Hawks.
So 12 gone, 71 for 4. Take a look at this one. Oh, clubbed into the onside. Pranto Ahmed, 71 for 4 at the end of 12.
Keep supporting, team. Put over here, Sach. All right, good work, guys. Thank you, guys.
So 71 for 4. Franklin, Clement, and Pranto Ahmed. Pranto Ahmed has shown good intent. We saw a couple of players, Matt. Neil Narvakar showed very good intent himself, as Sachin Mailavarapu, 2 for 16 off 3. He's bowled so well today again, as the New Jersey Stallion takes on the DC Hawks. What a powerful put-together bowling lineup here for the Stallions. The fact is, we haven't seen Stephen Wigg and Darren Davis being part of the lineup for some time. And Matt, that just goes to show their bench strength, the New Jersey Stallions. A couple of big coaches in their corner. Ball turned into the onside. Clement is running quickly, could come back for a couple of runs. Dominic Ricky gets onto the ball. And 2 more runs here for DC Hawks. Takes them up to 73, but Matt, just coming back to the coaching department for the New Jersey Stallions. Is being handled by Mr. Dookie out of the St. Kitts Patriots unit. And of course, Neil McGarrell, former West Indies player. So 2 experienced coach in the corner of the Stallions. Ball cut away. That's a good looking shot from Franklin Clement. And brings Pranto Ahmed onto strike. 44 balls still to be bowled.
5.8 and over the DC Hawks. Pranto Ahmed has looked very good so far. 16 off 11 from him. A couple of big sixes off the bat of Raymond Ramratan.
Yes.
And Matt, we made the point, Raymond Ramratan, he's having such a good series. We saw him in New York, player of the match last week. And he almost got it yesterday also. So ball lofted in to the deep area, and that's gone over the Dafa News advertising board, and that has gone for a maximum.
Another clean hit off the bat of Pranto Ahmed, taking the fight to the Stallions. Just over the head of the fielder placed.
Yeah, big shot there from Pranto Ahmed. 9 in this over so far from Sachin Mailavarapu. Ball tugged into the onside. We'll get a single here, and Matt, not too often you will see batters in this series would have taken Mailavarapu over the ropes or across it. So 13 overs gone, 81 for 4.
So, not so great looking batting card for the DC Hawks, but you see Pranto Ahmed not out. 23 off 13 deliveries, fighting back in some bit of fashion. Narvakar and Ash Arora as well, had a good partnership going between those two. We saw a bit of a collapse by the Hawks.
So a couple of wickets there for Sachin Mailavarapu. Continues to bowl well in this series. He is done. But good support from Manoj Acharya, Nino Henry, Raymond Ramaratan, Jasdeep Singh. So 42 balls still to be bowled. Jesse Singh comes back into the attack. Having bowled 2 overs, 1 maiden, none for 7. Quality stuff from Jesse Singh. Man who was would have represented the US mat at about 10 times, 6 ODI and 4 T20 international. His best bowling effort would have been 4 for 51 against Namibia. In 50 over game, his T20 exploits, a couple of wickets against Bermuda, a couple of wickets against Canada, a couple of wickets against the UAE in separate matches. He's a quality bowler, entrusted with the leadership of the Stallions. So far, the results have shown Jesse Singh is doing pretty well.
Yeah, he's bowled very economically throughout the course of the minor league. Saw him already bowling a maiden to Rituk Behera.
So he comes into Pranto Ahmed, and it doesn't matter how they come sometimes. Look at that, big top edge. And that has gone away for a boundary. Good, brave fight here from Pranto Ahmed.
Yeah, not the intended destination for it, but it doesn't matter. It's gone all the way into the Dafanu's board again, over the head of Mukamala. And another 6 off the bat of Pranto Ahmed. That's 4 to him already. And he flies up to 29 off just 14 deliveries, taking on Jesse Singh straight away.
So 41 balls still to be bowled. Mukamala. Yeah, Mukamala is trying to hunt for that leather ball. Continuing coverage of the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. There we go, Sunoco. And of course the Toyota ball. Let's go places. Let's look for that ball. That has been a very good slice off the bat of Pranto Ahmed. 87 for 4. So we've seen really good cricket at Exton Park this weekend, Matt. We saw a game that involved the Stallions yesterday, going down to the last couple of balls.
Yeah, we saw an absolute thriller in the afternoon game here at Exton Park. Philadelphians and the New Jersey Stallions playing out a hard-fought battle. Here's the 6 again that has caused the hold-up. Pranto Ahmed swinging away, getting a thick edge and heading into the thick bushes behind Sai Mukamala. And there we see the replacements coming out by third umpire Rashane Samuels.
Yeah, the third umpire has been quite busy today. Sunoco. Umpire sporting the Sunoco shirt, Matt. Looks very colorful. And I've always wondered when you look at that Sunoco logo, Matt, in the earlier days of the Sunoco logo, the arrow used to be straight across. Now it's tilted a little bit downwards. I wonder why. Maybe in our next stint we'll try to find out, but look at that. Mihir Patel, man who comes out of New Jersey, Sunoco. So 6 off the first ball here from Jesse Singh. Pranto Ahmed has shown that he's brave enough to take on Jesse Singh. Nothing wrong with that. They need runs. 41 balls still to be bowled. They're going just over 6.5 runs and over. So more runs here for Pranto Ahmed. Ball going into the region of Mailavarapu. And the Stallions are battling the DC Hawks. Stallions at the top of the table at the moment. They're on 14 points, Matt. DC Hawks, they're on 8, trailing behind. They're in 4th position. Stallions is on 1.
Yeah, the DC Hawks with a big win over the Somerset Cavaliers. There's Mihir Patel.
Yeah, we saw Mihir Patel at, what time did we come to the ground, Matt? We came here at 8:30. Mihir was already here. Yeah, Mihir Patel does a lot of work in the New Jersey area. He's a top quality umpire. And I got to tell you, Mihir Patel, here we go. Mihir Patel is one of the umpires. I got to tell you that he scores in some of the leagues in New Jersey on his phone, and he scores every single run that is scored in some of those league matches. Not an easy thing to do.
Not an easy by any means. Take it from us who do score in quite a lot as well. Mihir Patel, clearly a hard worker on and off the field in terms of his umpiring duties.
Yeah, Franklin Clement, we have seen him a couple of times, Matt. Take a look at this one, advancing down. He's trying to get a bit of result that we saw earlier on from Pranto Ahmed. Didn't go too well. But we have seen Franklin Clement on several occasions over at Veterans Park and over at Boland Park, Matt. And he's a very aggressive player. Jesse Singh, he's a quality customer himself. And this should be a very good contest.
Clement driving straight down the ground, takes out Pranto's stumps. Hustle through for a single.
And how many times, Matt, we've seen the stumps at the non-strikers end acting as a fielder. We've seen so many cricket matches where that stump would prevent a boundary for sure.
Yeah, we've seen it so many times.
When the ball is hit to that stump, there's usually no fielder at straight down the wicket. And that ball we've seen, take a look at this one. That would have gone for runs, I tell you that. So Jesse Singh completes an over that has conceded 8 runs, 14 gone, 89 for 4.
Pranto Ahmed 30 of 60. Pranto Ahmed 30 of 16, the main man not out. Neil Narvakar, Ash Arora got the DC Hawks off to a healthy start, but then we saw the wickets of both of them, and then in addition to that, the early fall of Malhotra. And now a good fight back partnership of 39 between Pranto and Franklin Clement.
So Manoj Acharya comes back into the attack, and Matt, we made mention of the junior team for the Stallions. How proud they have done the Stallions brand.
Yeah, they have, winning the minor league youth tournament in Texas. Some very talented young players in that Stallions side who are already in the minor league. For the senior squads, you've got the Empire State Titans duo of Chaitanya Pawal and Kwame Patton Jr. Apurva Maheshram, who's having a standout minor league, one of the new breakouts from this year's minor league.
So 35 balls remaining. Manoj Acharya, very quality bowler. Came into this game with 14 wickets. Balls in the air. He's offering a chance. Oh, Raymond Ramratan couldn't hold on to the catch. And they go through for one.
Very surprising seeing that from Raymond Ramratan. Man who would have taken the most catches in last year's minor league in the air for a while. May have just misjudged it, didn't get himself anyway in a comfortable position. And in the end puts it down, so a chance goes a-begging.
So ball pulled into the onside here from Pranto Ahmed. Look at that, that has gone away for 4. So 4 more runs off the bat of Pranto Ahmed. And that brings them closer to 100 here, Matt. Good looking shot.
Yeah, fine shot from Pranto Ahmed. And how good has he been today? Coming out in a very difficult position where the side need him. But has really delivered, and delivered well. 36 off 18, 4 sixes, and then the first 4 off his bat.
So he goes again into the onside. And picks up another run. Very brave batting here from Pranto Ahmed. They're approaching 100 here, Matt. 32 balls still to be bowled. This over's gone for 7 so far. Franklin Clement picks up another single. 97 for 4. 31 balls still to be bowled. This over's gone pretty well for Manoj Acharya. I'm pretty sure we will see a bit of Ramratan.
Last, yes.
So 8 in this over so far. Manoj Acharya will close out over number 15. There's still a lot of cricket left in this one, man.
Acharya, 9 in this over so far. Finishes off quite well. They'll get through first single though still. Pranto Ahmed, it's the end of 15 overs. 98 for 4, the DC Hawks.
1, 2, 3.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
So 98 for 4, the DC Hawks. We have a change in commentary. Nikhil Uttamchandani comes back to join me for the final 5 overs. We're seeing a very big fight back here from Pranto Ahmed.
The business end of the innings. It's been a good, well-set platform by Ahmed and co. Of course, 38 from 20. Struck the ball well. Good to see some fans, community atmosphere. We saw a huge turnout here at Exton Park yesterday. Youth in attendance. Here for the action, here for the fun as well. So in the last 5 overs, they really upped the ante. This DC Hawks team, of course, would have lost that wicket of Jaskar Malhotra, which would have been so huge. Now looking to rebuild. This rate, they get it to 130, but they want more than that with 6 wickets in the hutch. Comes the track, huge swing from Pranto Ahmed, who's batted beautifully, 38 from 20. What has he done well, Matt?
He's come out fearless. He hasn't been flustered at all by the pressure that the DC Hawks find themselves in. That shot says a lot about Pranto Ahmed. He's come out and he's just swung his bat. Even if it hasn't gone in the direction he wants it to, he's still managed to pick up runs. Has constantly been on the front foot.
Nino Henry's got 2 overs remaining, this being his 3rd one after this. Another swing and a miss. Will be interesting to see when Jesse Singh uses him, because obviously with his changes of pace, he's a real handful at the back end of the innings. A lot of options for Singh to go to. Good length, always tough to score. It's a similar length he was able to get 2 wickets in the same over against the Philadelphians yesterday. Both Liam Plunkett and Sharanshu Bhatia. So clearly when he's amassed that bowling to batters who go after him because of that consistency on a good length. Finds it again, and another swing and a miss. This time much shorter. But Pranto Ahmed having some difficulties with the extra bit of bounce that Henry is being able to generate.
Yeah, it's been a very good start here from Nino Henry. Pranto Ahmed unable to get bat on ball on any of the 3 deliveries he's faced so far. I've got the feeling with Pranto Ahmed timing it nicely, hitting the ball well, and Franklin Clement, who we know is a designated big hitter. This one down the ground from Pranto Ahmed. The DC Hawks might feel that they've still got a lot of runs on offer here in these final 26. They'll feel that they can capitalize for sure.
Yeah, Clement's got to sort of up the ante here, because you need to take some pressure off of Pranto Ahmed. Whilst you do want him to be attacking, the key thing is time at the crease. It's very tough now for a new batter to come in with just 4 overs remaining and look to then get off. So slower delivery. Clement have to just come 2 for 1. There's a 50-run partnership now between the two. They've been brilliant for the DC Hawks. And with that 50-run partnership, also the 100 coming up inside the 16th over. They've got a good platform built between them, and they've done well, because even after losing the wickets of Jaskar Malhotra and Neil Narvakar in quick succession, these two have rebuilt the innings to a respectable position, but they've got to finish well. This time over cover. Glorious shot. Because cover was on the boundary, he had to be so precise with his positioning. That is excellent from the DC Hawks, and a good way to close out the over.
Yeah, Pranto Ahmed continuing to carry on very nicely. Lovely shot. 16 gone, 104 for 4, the Hawks.
Well, the 54-run partnership between these two, the biggest for the DC Hawks. You saw yesterday, they got 2 big partnerships which helped them chase down at 125. They'll be looking for more than that. Batting first, winning the toss, of course, Jaskar Malhotra, new captain. And yesterday, Malhotra and Arsh Arora were able to put on a substantial partnership. Today, Pranto Ahmed stepping up. He's been the man with the ball in hand, showing that he's a very versatile, valuable all-round player. 7 away from a half century, be looking for that as well. For Franklin Clement, he's going to need to find something for his team. Jesse Singh has got an interesting decision, some interesting decisions to make. He's got 1 over from himself, which he's going to bowl now, and then 3 overs to make up. 1 from Henry, we expect, Acharya, and probably 1 from Raymond Ramratan. So some interesting decisions for Jesse Singh. Just the 5 bowlers used, they've all been very economical. Ramratan the most expensive at 7.67 runs per over. So they'll be happy with the way that they've gone about the first 16 overs, but you have to finish this period well. There it is. Straight into the attack and straight away making an impact. Full and at the stumps, Jesse Singh strikes. And Franklin Clement walking back after struggling.
Yeah, it was never really himself today, Franklin Clement. Jesse Singh right away into the attack, cleans him up. Clement goes, and again, just as the DC Hawks finding some bit of momentum, a wicket falls.
Francis Clement, the keeper, going back for just 10, 104 for 5. So Jesse Singh, the captain, boy, has he been impressive with his all-round ability. Coming right back into the attack and straight away picking up a wicket. His first. He's captain and led this team well. Led them to the first position in this Eastern Conference. For Jesse Singh as well, Matt, he's had a big void to make up. Obviously, this team without the likes of Stephen Wigg and Justin Dill, who's made the move to the Americans, the two of them took 48 wickets between them in 2021. So now, even with the addition of Manoj Acharya, Jesse Singh has had to step up in a big way.
Yeah, the pace attack. Pace attack definitely took a hit with Justin Dill moving on to the St. Louis Americans and Stephen Wigg not being able to play at the caliber that he was last year. So definitely work to be done by Manoj Acharya and Jesse Singh in terms of making up for that, and Nino Henry coming into the team. But the Stallions have still done very well. They've kept faith in these 5 bowlers that they've used: Jesse, Sachin, Henry, Acharya, and Ramratan.
Yeah, just the 2 games for Stephen Wigg up front in the tournament. Surprised that he hasn't been part of the mix for the Stallions team after being so effective last season. We know the difficulties of, especially in these Eastern Conference games, you play a lot on synthetic surfaces. It's always tough for bowlers, especially with that extra bit of pace. Batters just like to use it to their advantage. Start from Neil Narvakar in the power play, where he was just happy to hang on the back foot, use the pace and almost caress the ball into the gap. Singh has started this over well, picked up the wicket, just conceded 1 run. Has to close out though.
And here he is bowling to Pranto Ahmed, the man the DC Hawks will want to stay there.
Goes big with this one. There is a man in the deep. There's 2 actually. And Dominic Rickey, safe pair of hands, completes the catch. It's 2 in the over for Jesse Singh. And it's big wicket of Pranto Ahmed. How often do we see this? 1 wicket, always bringing a second. And now the DC Hawks in some trouble.
Yeah, that's the big fish. Pranto Ahmed gone. Continuing to go for the big shot. This time not getting enough on it. Picks out Dominic Rickey. Makes it look very easy in the end. Big wicket for the Stallions. Ahmed goes for 43.
Yeah, Pranto Ahmed making a difference in this innings. 105 for 6. It's going to be an interesting finish to the innings now as Nasir Islam comes to the middle. But you look at what Pranto Ahmed was able to do in the middle overs. After 10 overs, this team was 53 for 4. They were really struggling to score. He came in and just attacked. They scored 45 runs. That's 9 runs per over between overs 10 and 15. But how often have we seen when you take a wicket and you break a partnership, all of a sudden pressure just seems to eat into the batters in the middle, and proving successful for the New Jersey Stallions. Here's the wicket again. Jesse Singh went length, and Pranto Ahmed backing himself to take on that onside boundary. Dominic Rickey just waited on it and completed the catch pretty easily in the end.
Towards you. One more.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic over from Jesse Singh, and he's had a fantastic day in general. 3.5 overs, a maiden, 2 wickets for 17 runs. Always a good sign in T20 cricket. And Jesse Singh, you feel this is a big minor league for him.
Oh, ball. No, it's not. It's a no ball signal by Brian Kane. I was just about to praise Jesse Singh for his leadership of his team. Started the innings off with a maiden over, then came back so well as the innings progressed. Managed his bowlers so well, but he's got to close it out now. Free hit coming up for Nasir Islam. A gift to get off the mark.
Yeah, Nasir Islam will be hoping that he can make the most out of this. Has the license to go after Singh here. Brilliantly bowled by Jesse Singh off the free hit ball. How often do we see bowlers bowl their best ball for the free hit?
Ends the 17th over. A great one by Singh. Picks up 2 wickets in the over. 107 for 6. Well, just 3 overs remaining in this innings. And after a big 54-run partnership between Pranto Ahmed and Franklin Clement, that's been broken in the 17th over. Now will be for the lower order of this DC Hawks team to get them up to something respectable. You think, Matt, on this surface, maybe 140 would be just about par. 18 balls remaining, that will take some getting.
Yeah, 140 will definitely be the target. Nasser Islam has some bit of skills with the bat. Now, we did see Junaid Nadir as well. Hit them quite well up in DC against Philadelphians. Look at that, Jesse Singh and Sachin Mailavarpu doing the heavy lifting for the Stallions. 2 wickets each for them.
Ramratan into the attack, bowling his final over. I think it's a huge benefit to Jesse Singh that he's able to take 2 wickets in that last over and bring 2 new batters to the crease. Because it almost is like a get out of jail free card with the leg spinner. Into the attack, batters will be a bit more tentative. So Raymond Ramratan can almost get through this over, even though his spin inside the last 5 overs, get through it really quickly and look to be economical. Straight up, Ramratan with a safe pair of hands, completes the catch.
Nobody's right, keep going. Okay. On to the next ball.
Well, it went up in the air. Raymond Ramratan just chased it.
Nobody's right. It's okay.
I don't think the catch was taken. Hard to see from this angle.
Yeah, you're good, bye.
So just 1 run given to the scorers. Again, another single. I thought it was a wicket being taken. I don't have the luxury of seeing that with the naked eye, Matt. So they have just bounced on the way through to Ramratan.
Yeah, a bit difficult to tell from our position, but Nasser Islam on strike. Just the 1 for him. So far, so good for Raymond Ramratan in terms of the start to this over, economy-wise. Just another single, this one slapped to Nino Henry.
You can see what Ramratan is doing. A lot flatter now in this 18th over. Bowling for the situation at this stage of the innings. You don't want to flick the ball too much and allow these lower order batters to have time to just aim for where they want to hit the ball and give them a bit of extra time to put power behind it. Excellent over though so far. Just 2 runs conceded. Jesse Singh as a captain will be very happy with not only this over but the spell from his leg spinner, who yesterday was just brilliant overall with his all-round ability, finishing the innings off with a crucial 25 not out. Wide signaled.
He'll be definitely looking to get the runs. Junaid Nadir probably the man go back to do so. Gets an outside edge and it eludes Paul Palmer. Allows them to come back for a couple of runs in the end. 114 for 6 at the end of 18.
All right, 2 overs to come, guys. Let's finish it.
Just 2 overs remain. And for the DC Hawks, just scoring at above a run a ball. We'll be looking now to get up to that 130, maybe even 140 with just 12 balls remaining in the innings. Didn't help that they've lost 2 wickets inside the 17th over, ball by Jesse Singh, who you expect now will close out the innings with Manoj Acharya, who so often tends to bowl this important penultimate over. And he's still got Nino Henry on over from him. The Stallions, of course, a team that's unbeaten chasing. They've chased 3 times in this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship and have won all 3. One being yesterday afternoon. It was in the air for a bit, and it is in the air, and it is taken by Acharya off his own bowling. This man is just always in the wickets. You can't keep him out. So straight away into the attack and straight away making a difference.
Yeah, very good running catch from Manoj Acharya. And he was wicketless coming into this over. His final one, and right away dismisses Nasser Islam. Can't stop this man at the moment, Manoj Acharya. 7th one falls for the Hawks, 114 as Islam walks back for 2.
Yeah, Acharya just been in the wickets all season now, taking his 15th wicket. And again, not much work to be done for Junaid Nadir. Sorry, Nasir Islam it is, and it brings, looks to be Bahira to the middle. Just looking to confirm that for you.
5 left here, batter. Right
Aryan Batra, it is, that comes to the center. So in these 11 balls, you've got to make use. Again, pulled into the onside. Something we saw yesterday from teams batting first especially, they didn't make use of the full quota of 20 overs. Even though you lose wickets and your lower order is doing the bulk of the batting, you want to make sure that you bat every delivery. You just never know in terms of extras. You never know the opportunities that you can get. The Philadelphians are bowled out inside the 19th over. I think the DC Hawks will know that they've got to bat these remaining 10 balls. Good change of pace again. You can hear the zip past the outside edge. So good at bowling those cross-seam deliveries, the changes of pace, slower balls.
Yeah, Junaid Nadir and Aryan Batra have got work to be done, but very good death bowling so far from the New Jersey Stallions. Getting the wickets of Clement and Pranto and just limiting the scoring by the Hawks. Again, another good ball from Acharya.
Appeals, they're asking the question. It seemed like they were so confident, the Stallions, but the umpire not interested. They'll be interested. I think he just may have got home in the end. It was a bit nonchalant to begin that single. You can see as soon as he hit it, the non-striker, Batra, called him through. Ooh, could have been short. But of course, we have to remember, yeah, would have been out. Really is out. But remember, for those folks at home, there's no luxury of having the television replays. We can see it a second and third time. For the square leg umpire and the standing umpire, they've got to make the decision in real time. But Bramble and Acharya were so confident. Well bowled again. Every delivery this over has been a variation. It's just showing his skill and ability, Acharya, at this stage of the innings.
So a couple of runs off this over, and the wicket of Nasir Islam has been brilliant from Manoj Acharya. It's been brilliant from the Stallions all around. Really stifled the DC Hawks, but there's a good shot from Junaid Nadir.
And put down in the deep by Dominic Ricky. He'll be disappointed with that. Ricky's position at that deep mid-wicket position for his catching ability. And in the end, big chance gone a begging. Manoj Acharya again into the pitch. This slow surface, Ricky would have backed himself to take that every day of the week. You'll be disappointed. 117 for 7. Well, just one over remaining in this contest. 117 for 7. They'll be looking at that 130, which is some 13 runs away. At least 130. They still got 3 wickets in hand. Nino Henry will bowl the final over. It does help, though, the Stallions, that they don't have to try to change too much, because they just have 5 solid options that Jasdeep Singh can go through throughout this 20 overs. Here's the run-out chance again. He just took off straight away, Aryan Batra. A good pickup by Bramble. Hit the stump direct. And in the end, was short. But, of course, our umpires, it's a tough job for them. They don't have the luxury of making that decision off a replay. Again in the air. Henry calls for it. It should be a wicket. No, it's Bramble that calls. And Bramble with the gloves takes the catch again. Another wicket falling for the DC Hawks. It's been the story of this innings.
Yeah, Junaid Nadir goes looking to go big. Can't fault him for that. DC Hawks need all the runs they can get. And in the end, skying one straight up in the air. Anthony Bramble pulls off a very good catch. With the gloves on, you'd always back the keeper to take those.
Yeah, smartly in the end. We saw this yesterday a couple of times. Bramble, knowing that he's got the extra bit of padding, big mitts, takes the catch and a smile after for his West Indian counterpart. But the Stallions, again, such a good all-round performance from them so far. Gone is Junior Nadir for just 7. 117 for 8. It will be Rashish Bahira who comes to the middle with just 5 deliveries remaining in this innings. We're going to have to reball that one, Nino Henry. You see what he's trying to do, though, with this field that he has in this final over. He does have the sweeper on the boundary in the offside. Still has the extra cover and point fielders inside the circle, but then for that short delivery, we were just able to pick up a wicket on that deep mid-wicket boundary. He has one out there, so pretty standard at this stage. Again for that pull, but he's got protection in the deep. 2 is the call. It was excellently fielded by Paul Palmer to keep that to just 2 saves, 2 runs for his team. Those are the small things that make the difference.
Yeah, they really can. Who knows if the DC Hawks win this game by 2 runs, or rather if you see how many games decided by just a couple of runs. We saw yesterday the Stallions Philadelphia game going down so close. So those things really make a difference.
Slower ball again. We've also seen a lot of super overs in this Eastern Conference. The Philadelphians involved in 2. He wanted 3, but in the end it'll just be 2. Jesse Singh a bit slow on that mid-wicket, on the, sort of in that long on position to get there. So 122 now. 3 balls remaining. Matt, how much are they targeting?
130. They've got to try and get a boundary, get 2 boundaries, I think, perhaps out of this 3. That'll help them. 130, 135.
Again, another change of pace. In these last 2 overs, I think every single delivery has been a slower ball. Coming back for 2, has to hurry. Better between the wickets, this pair. So last couple of deliveries, they've ran really well. Ensure even if they aren't scoring the boundaries, which have been so hard on this surface with a slow outfield, they've been able to come back for 2s. Good running.
Yeah, very good hustle by Rasesh and Aryan Batra. If you're not scoring boundaries, then 2s are perhaps the next best thing. 2 deliveries to go. Nino has gone for 7 in this final over, which I'm sure the DC Hawks will take, given the overall run rate has been 6.3.
Only 5 boundaries struck in this over, sorry, in this innings, which is always a surprising thing. Man underneath this. Sun is in his eye, but Jesse Singh, such a good fielder, such a good pair of hands, completes the catch, the captain, and it's another one to the tally for Nino Henry, who now has 3 and 8 in this 2022 Toyota Minor League in just 3 games.
Yeah, another wicket for Henry. Looking to go big is Aryan Batra. Not enough on it. And a tough one with the sun in his eyes there, Jesse Singh. But he's got the big hat on and pulls off a very good catch. 9th one down.
Well, Matt, he's got shades on, but they're on top of his cap. It's not helping him. He's not helping himself, Jesse Singh. He's taken the catch, tried to struggle with the sun, but his shades are on top of the hat. So another wicket falling for the DC Hawks. Batra gone this time for 7. 124 for 9. We have seen this DC Hawks team be able to defend. They restricted the Philadelphians to just 96 runs just last weekend. Yesterday they kept the Somerset Cavaliers that they played to 124 before they were dismissed. So they're at 124 now. If they can get up to 130 or close to it on this final delivery, as Sarbajit Lada comes to the middle, will face the final delivery. Full and down the leg side, and probably gets away with it. Nino Henry just ricochets off the pad. It'll just be a single. What a clinical bowling performance from the New Jersey Stallions, limiting this DC Hawks to 125. The identical total that they chased down yesterday against the Cavaliers. But they'll be very happy about that performance, the Stallions.
Yeah, very good bowling performance. Henry picking up 3 and Jesse Singh and Malavarpu with a couple each. Really hasn't been the DC Hawks' day with the bat in hand. Only Pranto Ahmed and really Neil Narvakar getting runs on the board. But hey, we know the DC Hawks have got a powerful bowling lineup, and they're really going to have to put in a very good performance here. Stallions need 126 for victory.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed with that, the DC Hawks, because they had a decent start, a decent platform being built. Neil Narvakar getting in the runs, got 28, but through the middle, they just lost their way. Arsh Arora also at the start, 17. The two put on a decent partnership, but the biggest being 54 runs between Pranto Ahmed and Franklin Clement. Ahmed, the way he was able to just come in and show a bit of extra initiative to attack, scored 45 runs between overs 10 to 15, but in the end, losing 3 wickets in, actually sorry, 6 wickets in the last 4 overs was always going to be tough for this team, the bowling.
And Nino Henry doing very well in that final over, picking up a couple of wickets. Jesse Singh and Sachin Malavarpu as well. Very good. Look at Jesse Singh's economy rate, 4.5 and over, brilliant. And then Acharya and Ramratan with a wicket each.
Well, an eventful first innings, which means now that the New Jersey Stallions would just need a score above 6 runs per over to get that 126, and they'll, with a powerful batting lineup, they'll bat themselves to get that. In terms of how the innings would have actually unfolded, here's a look at how things started off for Ritwik Bahira, where he's, after struggling for 11 deliveries, then just held out at mid-on. Neil Narvakar, though, finally got in the runs. He's a man that likes to hang on that back foot, especially in the power play, use the pace of these extra quick bowlers. And Arsh Arora, the two built a decent partnership between them. While it was slow going, it was ensuring that they got themselves to a comfortable position where they would have 2 set batters at the crease. 36 runs between Arora and Narvakar. Arsh Arora struck a few big blows for his DC Hawks team. Neil Narvakar, that was a big one. Over long off. But then, just trying, probably one too many. Off the spin second, Malavarpu. You can't keep that man out of this game when it comes to wickets. Looking to go over extra cover. And another good catch by the Stallions, who were just such a good fielding unit. Another catch being taken, this time in the deep by Nino Henry. Pranto Ahmed, though, the way he came in through the middle overs and attacked the spin, was not fazed by the wickets falling around him, especially against the spinners for the Stallions. Scored 45 runs, the team, in overs 10 to 15. Pranto Ahmed, boy, was he magnificent for this Hawks team. Struck at 165 in this innings. Got some luck along the way as well. Went all the way for 6, that off the top edge. Used the pace of Acharya well to just help the ball along its way, even on a slow outfield. We only had 5 fours being hit. Ahmed struck 4 maximums, so not too fazed by the 4 option. Then he had to fall in the same over of Jesse Singh, just held out to Dominic Ricky at deep mid-wicket. Always going to be tough taking on that big square boundary. And then just the extra bit of skill from Acharya, going with the cutters, the pace off. In the final over, Nino Henry able to take 2 wickets in the same over. Bramble completed a good catch with a safe pair of hands. And then another good catch being taken in the deep by Jesse Singh. Had to watch it a long time with the sun, but completing the catch at long on. A very clinical performance from the New Jersey Stallions, which now has led them to needing 126 runs to win if they are to pick up their 8th win and further cement their place as first in this Eastern Conference. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon with the action.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Hi, Kevin. Yeah, I forgot that part. Thanks. Sounds good.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Well, the action continues here at Exton Park. Second day of this Philadelphia Cricket Festival. 125 for 9 is all the Hawks were able to muster. Funny enough, the identical total that they got yesterday where they chased down that score against the Cavaliers. And it was really set up by a clinical bowling performance by the New Jersey Stallions, who just used the 5 bowlers, Jesse Singh, and started up front with himself bowling a maiden in the very first over, led the way, 2 for 18 for him. Narvakar, 2 for 25. Boy, has he been brilliant. But the pick of the bowlers, Nino Henry, 3 wickets for him. He's been a real standout, 1 apiece for Acharya and Ram Ratan as well. So it means now that the Stallions in search of this 126 to win, and you think if they can get a win here, move up to 16 points in this Eastern Conference, they'll be well on their way to qualifying one of 2 positions for those playoffs.
It'll be a game and a half ahead of the Manhattan Yorkers, who we'll see in just a little bit against the Philadelphians. But they look the goods, just as they did last year when they went and won the Atlantic Conference champions. So we'll see how they go against this DC Hawk side, who need a win desperately to stay involved in this playoff chase.
Anthony Bramble and Dominic Rickey, the 2 openers. Bramble, well, just 174 runs in the 10 matches. Subpar for his standards. Coming in as the marquee player for this Stallions team, replacing Rodman Powell, who was picked originally. So he's got big shoes to fill. And yesterday we saw glimpses of that with his 41 from just 21 deliveries. And his partner, Dominic Rickey, and will be facing Jaskar Malhotra, the captain for today for this DC Hawks team. Of course, the USA International. And Malhotra likes to bowl this new ball. They like to take some early wickets. The Hawks, Brian Kane standing, the standing umpire. So just about ready for action. And it's going to be very interesting to see how, and the planning of how you bowl to Anthony Brown. Was such an explosive player at this phase of the innings. Inside the power play, you're only allowed 2 outside the circle. Interestingly enough, Malhotra starting with both mid-on and mid-off up in the circle, as you can see top of your screen. Ball number 1, here we go. Starts well, but Bramble able to get off the mark straight away into the onside. So big outfield, big boundary. It's also on the slower side as well, so just be a couple of runs.
Of course, Bramble coming off of a man-of-the-match performance, Toyota Tundra man-of-the-match performance yesterday. Top scoring with 43 and taking a number of very nice catches with the gloves.
Malhotra, though, will be very interesting because it's a deep bowling lineup. It'll be interesting to see how he juggles his bowlers. Obviously, he has Pranto Ahmed and the leg spin of Sarvjit Lara, who took 7 wickets between them. Again, much shorter this time from Malhotra. Tends to be very quick through the air, not a big spinner of the cricket ball, especially with the newer ball. Does get a bit of drift at times, but a very humid, still day here at Exton Park. But a good start. Remember, the Hawks just scored 29 runs in their first 6. Stallions have the benefit of knowing exactly what they need, what needs to be chased. It's an interesting field he's got as well. Deep cover on the boundary. The 2 sweepers, which tells you that he doesn't want to bowl too full. Malhotra, he's happy to have those 2 fielders square on the boundary as there's 2 outside the circle. Mid on and mid off, up in the circle. You see he has an extra cover, square leg in place as well. Also bowling around the wicket to Dominic Ricky. It's an interesting angle of attack from Malhotra bowling around the wicket to a right-hander. But I think he has this side arm action, which allows him to just push the ball across the batters. So it's why he has a slip in place, and it's why he's opting to utilize this angle from around the wicket. Much better deliveries to follow up in the over.
And trying, as you said, to maybe catch a top edge or maybe induce a mistake here and put an early wicket and force the issue here.
A good over though, just what the Stallions need, just a run a ball per over from here on in if they want to get to that 126, 6 from the first. Yeah. Well, yesterday, 41 from 21 deliveries for Anthony Bramble, the man from Guyana. And he just mentioned how important it was for him to finally get in the runs against the Philadelphians, chasing down that target of 141. Hit 4 mammoth maximums on a slow outfield. You can see the crowd was in. Boy, were they treated some great entertainment. Hit it to all parts, 360-degree player. And I think that will help his confidence. Eventually went, just thought maybe he could have managed the situation. Looking to go 1 too many, was held out at long on. But you want to build on that yesterday. Fantastic work by our production crew to have that coverage. And that's the benefits, Brian, of having this premium coverage, of course, presented by Sunoco, Dafa News, and Toyota. You get to show things like that where you can see sort of a player, the way he's growing in confidence. Anthony Bramble, a big day for him.
Especially those who are relatively new to the sport to kind of see the different styles. And really, you know, our good friend Nate Hayes, who we heard a little bit earlier, we heard him explain that, you know, it is very much a 3-dimensional game, cricket. It's not like baseball where you can only hit the ball forward. Hitting the ball in all directions and beating the field, the strategy on the defensive side and beating that. It's very much a chess match, and we saw Bramble take advantage to the fullest.
Well, down the leg side, wide and more runs. That will not help the cause of the DC Hawks, who don't have much runs to play with. A rare loose delivery from Pranto Ahmed. 5 wides, not a good start to the over.
Not at all, especially against this deep New Jersey Stallions outfit. They have to be very tidy, and that won't help as that one goes into the reeds.
5 bonus runs for the Stallions. All of a sudden, that asking rate is dipped below 6 runs and over. Balls in the process, Pranto Ahmed trying to get his momentum to take him forward. It's an interesting decision though by the captain, Jaskar Malhotra, to bring Pranto Ahmed into the game at this stage. Well, yesterday he bowled the very first over, which considered 16 runs, but boy did he come back well, being able to take 3 wickets. He's been a real revelation for this DC Hawks team, a reason why their bowling attack is so potent. 3 wickets for him, 19 across the 10 matches so far in this 2022 Toyota Minor League. But he's got a different challenge now, bowling to the powerful Anthony Bramble.
That shows how, you know, psychologically you give up a big over like that early and then come back and have the innings and the spell that he did to help his team down the stretch and invariably help them to a win.
Another extra in the over, another wide. Won't mind that too much, the Stallions. They'll take them as they can get in terms of the extras. I mentioned yesterday, wanted to see more from Anthony Bramble. You can see he's trying to angle the ball in to the right-hander, Pranto Ahmed. Second time he's tried, only wide of the crease, over the wicket, trying to attack the stumps, but he's just straying a bit in terms of the line. And even for his partner, Brian, Dominic Ricky, it's a big remainder of this tournament for Dominic Ricky as well. A man that's also been in the USA setup, playing in the one-day format. But you look at Ricky's overall, as Pranto Ahmed just seeming to may have just turned the ankle. He's fallen over a couple of times in the over, so let's hope he's okay. He's calling for some treatment. You can see maybe just need a change of spikes. But he's been continuously losing his grip and falling over. Always tough to bowl on the synthetic surface when you don't have that much grip as much as a turf surface.
Yeah, it tends to be a little bit slipperier, especially depending on what your footwear is. And it does, especially when he's bowling with such momentum. You mentioned that he's falling over, one wrong step, unfortunately, and we see what's happened here. But yeah, that you see the difference in the different wickets. You do have to take a little bit more care on this artificial wicket, especially on a humid day like today where a little bit of moisture can gather, and then you have a situation like that. You got to be very careful.
So Pranto Ahmed, surprising to see him actually using the spikes to start anyway, because you don't really see it on the synthetic matting. It's a concrete structure underneath, which means that you can't easily slide. Now he's gone for the rubber spikes, probably the better option, because clearly something was wrong. Pranto Ahmed is a man that's known for his discipline, his aggressive intent. And now with his rubber spikes, could be looking for possibly some more grip. 19 wickets in this tournament. Boy, has he been special for this DC Hawks team. Remember, they would have had to replace Dane Pete, Ravinder Singh, and Sunny Sohail from last season. So some big shoes to fill. And the way Ahmed has come in, 19 wickets, an average of 8.32. And an economy rate of 5.5. Excellent stuff from the seamer.
Yeah, it's always good when your bowlers can average like single digits. It's insane, and it adds that extra little bit of danger to your bowling attack.
I was making the point earlier before Pranto Ahmed had that shoe change. Dominic Ricky, it's a very important time for him. Didn't get much runs yesterday. Into the onside, he's so strong with that flick shot, Dominic Ricky. And on any ground, on another ground, they could have easily gone for 4, but because it's a heavy outfield, don't get the boundary, just be 2. But getting back to Ricky, Brian, this is a very important passage of play. It's been a good start to the tournament. 214 runs in the 7 innings. He's averaging over 20. He's the leading run scorer for this Stallions team so far. But you look at the starts, he's gotten 3 times he's passed the 25-run mark and hasn't been able to kick on. For a man that's been in the USA international setup, you need to make use and capitalize on those starts to sort of command the authority and show his desire to return to that setup.
Especially in a setup that has such aspirations to make it to senior world competitions like the T20 and the ODI World Cup, especially how crowded it is talent-wise.
Well, down the leg side again, and it goes past Neil Narvakar. Second time in the over. There's going to be 5 wides. Pranto Ahmed has really struggled. It's a huge over so far. 15 runs have come from it, and still 3 deliveries remaining.
Yeah, and this is, you don't want to give them extra wickets, extra runs, extra anything, because they can beat you on their own. They don't need any help, and unfortunately, Pranto Ahmed giving them extra runs.
And this will also help Dominic Ricky, because it then gives him some more deliveries where he can just minimize the risk being taken, knowing that you've already got 15 runs in the over. And all of a sudden, the rate per over is 14. Never ideal when you only have 125 runs on the board. So the DC Hawks need to improve and need to improve quickly. Pranto Ahmed, a rare loose over from him. Man, that's only conceded 5.5 runs per over. Yesterday we saw a similar thing, though, to start his spell. 16 runs was conceded in his first over. Much better line and length from Pranto Ahmed. Just getting back to Dominic Ricky, Brian, I think also when you look at his game, probably more suited to the one international format, the format that he did make his USA debut. The man born in Berbice. He played 2 one internationals versus Oman at the end of 2021. But even in the 2021 minor league season, he got to 315 runs. Was decent, especially at the back end of the tournament, helping the Stallions, who were underdogs, get to the finals weekend. Not only to the finals weekend, they got to the final as well, Church Street Park, against the Silicon Valley Strikers. But I think this year he's got to command sort of the authority, and the selectors will be watching. When you look at the openers around the country, obviously Monarch Patel, Stephen Taylor, 2 resident openers. Sushant Modani has been trusted in the one-day format to open the batting. So it's a tough group he has to break his way into. Got to use every opportunity he gets in this minor league to make a name for himself. It's an interesting action from Pranto Ahmed. Almost seems like the ball's coming out the back of his hand. And he finally will get to the end of the over. And a very expensive one for the DC Hawks. 15 runs from it, 21 for none. Brian, a good start for the New Jersey Stallions. 21 from the first 2 overs. How does the DC Hawks come back into this game?
Well, the big number there at the bottom is 11 extras, and that they need to minimize, their bowlers need to minimize that. But as you mentioned, Ricky, the fact I think that he can play at the ODI level, it means that he can sustain himself for longer periods of time because you can be a little bit more patient. And here, you don't have as many deliveries to face, but still.
There is a man in the deep, but he goes left of him, and it will be runs for Bramble. Even on a slowish outfield, this man just puts so much might behind every ball he connects with. And he's been in good nick in these last couple of days, Anthony Bramble.
Yeah, he's continuing right where he left off yesterday. A little bit of a shortish ball, but did a very good job to steer that one through the gap and away for 4.
He actually joined us in the box yesterday, Anthony Bramble, to speak about his performance, and he just seemed to be so grateful that he finally got a substantial score for his team. He knows how much they depend on him. Down the ground this time, straight back over the bowler's head. Statement piece from Bramble, who's taking command of this game all the way from maximum as well.
Yeah, gotta like a keeper who can rake, and he did absolutely that, sending that into the sight screen. I love the way that he does see the ball so well, and he can, as you said, he can hit the ball just about anywhere around the ground. And somebody like that, he's absolutely adept at hitting the straight drive, and he did that there for a maximum.
Malhotra making a change to his field, sending back his sweeper on the leg side, much straighter. It's an interesting length he's bowling, though. So full with mid-on and mid-up up in the circle. Very brave from Malhotra. Pulls it back this time, and it goes straight up. But of course, for Bramble, falls into no man's land. Sometimes when it's going your way, it's just going your way. He's in a real purple patch here, Anthony Bramble. Comes back for 2. Already a good start to this over. This one could be done very quickly if Bramble and Dominic Ricky can stay out in the middle. Going at 13 runs per over.
Yeah, and they're showing their class here. The fact that even, you know, we said how deep they are, but even their players at the top, they are apt to innings like this.
You think about a Toyota Tundra, the power of that vehicle, which we saw very close yesterday in this Festival of Cricket. There was one here, Brian. I'm telling you, I just need to do about maybe 1,000 more minor league games, then I can afford one. In fact, maybe $1 million. Yeah, probably $1 million before I can get a Toyota Tundra. Hasn't quite timed it. Just be another 2. Bramble keeping things very busy at the moment for the New Jersey Stallions. One thing you can look at, Jaskar Malhotra, Brian, has got a left strapping on his hand. You can see him, he's currently the ball in his hand. He's would have fractured that left hand, which kept him out of the action when Nepal came to the USA. Just played in the T20 World Cup qualifiers, but it's still giving him some distress. Yesterday, he put down a catch. He was just so tentative, and I spoke to him after the game. In the air again. But it just doesn't carry to the fielder. Malhotra, though, he's mentioned how difficult it is to play with an injury like that, just always on the back of your mind, and very hard to both bat and field with that left hand injury. Let's hope he gets well soon. End of 3, 35 for none. Well, cricket coming to Philadelphia, to Pennsylvania here at Exton Park. What's been your favorite thing, Brian, as 20, 35 for none and 20 for Bramble? What's been your favorite thing about the cricket, if you analyze the action over the last 2 days?
Well, I think the fact that the fans here were given 2 really good games, especially the home fans yesterday. And just walking around yesterday, there was a lot of Philadelphians gear, which is fantastic to see. We talked yesterday during the coverage about the Philadelphians trying to get their, trying to build themselves as a pillar of this. As you can see, a couple of fans out under the tents, under the shades here. They want to be a part of the Philadelphia sporting landscape, not just a cameo role. They want to be part of that, which of course is so well known, not just nationally, but around the world. So for them to be a permanent fixture and to have events like that and to bring out people who may have heard about the game but have never seen it live, great to walk around and see a lot of first-time viewers of the game and really get behind the team.
Junaid Nadir, who came into the team today for Bipul Sharma, into the attack straight away. So I just wonder about maybe the proposition. You're already under the pump, where the team chasing only needs 5 runs per over, or just about. What about Sarbajit Lada, who took 3 wickets yesterday? Boy, was he brilliant for this DC Hawks team. Obviously, you have Anthony Bramble, who's a bottom-hand dominant player. He would be having to hit against the spin, even in this power play. I think it's worth the gamble from the captain, Jaskar Malhotra. 3 for 21 it was for Lada in his 4 overs yesterday. I really like this dynamic, though, Brian, of having Dominic Ricky and Anthony Bramble together, because it allows Ricky to play his, I hate to say the phrase natural game, but it allows him to just bat to his strengths, you could say. A man that likes to spend time there, occupy the crease in the first 6 overs. With Bramble at the other end, it takes a lot of pressure off of him. Oh, indecision, he actually slips in the process. Direct hit would have been gone. Anthony Bramble, that would have been disastrous. The 2 Guyanese in some miscommunication, Bramble and Dominic Ricky.
And he got slipped on one of those Super Mario Brothers banana peels as we look at it again. Yeah, it's good when you have somebody on the other side who can bat with confidence, and you see Bramble slipping, and yeah, he would have been out by a good, I would say about a good 6 or 7 feet. But thankfully for him, the throw was offline.
Just past mid-on, and runs for Dominic Ricky. He's very strong in the onside, using that top hand, using it well. So he getting in on the fun as well. Runs really flowing for the New Jersey Stallions.
Not really a whole lot of answers here. They may have to turn to Lada for a change of pace and a change of that big looping curve that he throws, but good job by Ricky to find the gap and another 4 runs.
This time, again, past mid-on, and it is more runs in the same area. And would you believe it? It doesn't get to the boundary, just slows up as it reaches the rope. So another 2 runs for Dominic Ricky, another 2 runs to the quarter can see Jaskar Malhotra. You can hear him through the stump mics. Has a job on his hands now with just 89 runs needed for victory.
That was an Exton 2, because that's another one where any other ground, that's probably a 4. But you can see how well they're running, how well they're communicating, and that's been one of the reasons why they've been putting on this 41-run stand.
Much better delivery this time from Nadir, much straighter, and also pulls the length back, which makes it tougher for Dominic Ricky to drive down the ground. You can't afford to bowl full with mid-on up in the circle. I mentioned Dominic Ricky and how important it is that even with this now facing 12 deliveries, it's almost like another start for him. It'll be so crucial if he kicks on, and with this type of score, just 126 runs needed, is the perfect opportunity for Ricky to see the game home for his team. Inside edge, very fortunate for Dominic Ricky. But the runs really flowing. A much improved over though from the Hawks, conceding 8 runs from the over, 43 for none.
1, 2, 3.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
It's a new look team, a new look structure for the Stallions while they maintain their core. New opening pair. Anthony Bramble beginning things, the man from the West Indies who was brought in to replace Rodman Powell. Looks like Pranto Ahmed will come back into the attack. So a change of ends for Ahmed.
Bowling this time from the creek end, as opposed to the Swedesford Road end, which is the other side where it was a cornfield up until last year, and I guess they're growing strawberries or something else. It's a lot shorter of a crop. Part of this serene scene. Very English, as Liam Plunkett put it to me a few weeks ago when I asked him what he thought of the ground.
That's it.
Oh, very full delivery, which actually strikes Anthony Bramble in the shoulder on the ground. Was looking to just hit that into the onside, sort of the ramp shot, but then it was a full toss. Could be very painful, but very good to see Bramble back to his feet. They actually appealed and asked the question. Bramble likes to go down on one knee. Probably may have just tried to premeditate. Pranto Ahmed, well, said no, I won't be taking that. Bramble went full and straight at the body of the four-man.
Yeah, as we take a look at this again, it did come up pretty high. It does hit him shoulder high, and I think had he not gone down to one leg, just to give a point of reference, that's probably still maybe a little bit under shoulder height. But as you said, good to see him back up and walking around after what could have been a nasty, nasty blow.
We mentioned 10 games across the country happening today. Tons of action. Kicking things off on this Super Sunday here at Exton Park. We do have some great matches coming up for you. And another full delivery. And look at that. It hits the stump, but the beels don't fall off. Could almost hear the noise. Yeah, just rolled off the body again of Bramble, who wants a no ball. He's very frustrated, Anthony Bramble. It's the second time a full toss has been bowled at his body. And it hits the stump, but the beels don't fall off.
That's very rare. That's very rare. Especially with that sort of force.
Bramble is extremely disgusted. It's the second full toss in a row by Pranto Ahmed, who clearly is looking for that Yorker, but he's hit the body now twice, and Bramble's had enough. That's not a monster you want to wake up, Brian, because if he gets going, we could be done and dusted in a couple overs time.
He's like the big bad wolf. And now you got him mad.
Here it is again. You see, the problem for Bramble is that he's going down on one knee. He's making the umpire's decision tough, but that was, again, at shoulder height. His argument is that keep clearly targeting those full deliveries, which is a very dangerous delivery to bowl from Pranto Ahmed. This time hits the deck for the first time in 3 deliveries, and it results in the 3rd dot ball. So rare string of dot deliveries to Anthony Bramble. Mentioned though before some of the other action happening around the country, some important matchups as well. The Raptors taking on the Galaxy, that's on the other side of the Atlantic Division, and then the Lightning and the Fire also in action, 2 p.m. start. And of course later today from Exton Park, a real mouth-watering affair. The first time we'll see the Manhattan Yorkers in action against the Philadelphians, the home team. Again in the offside, and again runs very full from Pranto Ahmed, just creating room for himself. Anthony Bramble squeezing it in the gap.
And I think they may have waken up the Giant there, even with those full tosses. Lovely play to get the 4 runs. I'm really excited about some of those other games, Nikhil, including that Atlanta Derby. Been very fun to watch Rakeem Cornwall do his thing for Atlanta Fire. They kept him in check yesterday. I believe he only managed to get 22 runs, but been a very, very nice addition, not only to that Atlanta team, but also to this Toyota 2022 minor league cricket competition presented by Sunoco.
Pranto Ahmed has been very expensive in his spell. They desperately need a wicket here, the DC Hawks. Much better delivery from. There's always been that length. Anytime he's been able to find that good length, he's been so tough to score from. But the extras have been a huge problem for him. 15 runs in that first over from Ahmed.
And another one on an overthrow there. That's been the case. They, you need to not give them any sort of help, and that's one of the reasons why they've been able to put together a partnership that is nearing the half century.
Well played by Ricky into the offside, and even on a slow field, it will just, no it doesn't. Thought it had enough to get to the boundary, but he's such a good player down the ground, Dominic Ricky, because of that strong top hand utilizes. But a good way to end the over for the Stallions. The 50 comes up on the brink of the 5th over, well on their way for that 126 total, 50 for none.
Well, the New Jersey Stallions, trying to chase down the target of 126, have done a fantastic job of starting that. The opening pair of Anthony Bramble and Dominic Ricky. Ricky on 16, Bramble on 25. We mentioned those 11 extras. Pranto Ahmed having trouble with the control here in the early going. And as Lenny Achabar joins me on the ball-by-ball. Lenny, it's been, we predicted, we were looking at the Stallions team, 126 total, seemed very, very within their reach. And at this rate, they may do it with relative ease.
Yes, Brian, I think someone has forgotten to tell Ricky and Bramble they're not chasing 200 here, Brian. They're up to a quick start. Look at the card, it's 51 without loss in just 5 overs. So ball lifted into the onside. That's another good big looking shot here from Anthony Bramble. And that has gone for another maximum. So the onslaught continues here. This time off the bat of Anthony Bramble, that's more runs.
Yeah, Bramble has gotten settled in well and may be well on his way to another Toyota Tundra Man of the Match appearance. We were talking with Nikhil. Those 2 deliveries really kind of may have riled him up. It was almost a Yorker length, and he dealt with it well and smashed that one over point.
So lovely shot again from Anthony Bramble. He continues to bat well. The Stallions on course for putting more points on the table, Brian. They need 68 to do that. They will go up to 14 points if they do that.
And they'll be a game ahead of the Manhattan Yorkers. They'll a game and a half ahead of the Manhattan Yorkers. They'll maintain first place through the end of the weekend, and that's very important because, you know, we saw them. They actually had won the division last year. Ended up playing the home games in Morrisville anyway. But you do want to maintain that edge.
So Bramble goes into the onside again. We'll get a single run. And Brian, we made the point that Anthony Bramble comes out of a club in Guyana called Albion. And the reason why we're mentioning that, Jonathan Fu, who also will play next, comes out of that club. Devendra Bishu, who also plays in this minor league, he comes out of Albion. So quite a big Albion presence in this minor league. And we've seen Dominic Rickey has played some good hands during the course of last year's minor league and even this year. And he's getting a chance to really get among the runs. They just need 66 to put more points on the table. What a tournament it has been for the New Jersey Stallions.
And as we mentioned in the first inning, really going about things the right way in terms of building for the long haul, not just this season, but going forward.
So continuing coverage of the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco will continue when the Philadelphians will come up against Manhattan Yorkers. That should be a cracker of a game. Take a look at this one, a big swing and a miss here from Anthony Bramble. He still is batting well. He's really carried the fight to the DC Hawks bowlers. And we saw the indiscipline of bowling a couple of 5 wides earlier on. Bramble has really come into a key cog in the New Jersey Stallions this year. Of course, we made mention earlier on, Brian, missing the service of Rovman Powell, but what a replacement here in the form of Anthony Bramble.
Yeah, he's showing himself to be, you know, a good keeper all-rounder. We mentioned how well he did yesterday. I mean, he is so calm, and I think in order for you to play that wicketkeeper position, you know, somebody who, of course, has not done it before, you do have to have that confidence.
So that will complete over number 6. And after 6, they're chasing 126. They're 61 without loss. So big start here from Dominic Rickey and Anthony Bramble. Not a big score, 125 posted by the DC Hawks. And we've seen that number play a couple of days in a row, Brian. And that hasn't held up yesterday at all.
No, it hasn't. And now you've got you know, a team that I think is, you know, as good as the DC Hawks have been playing. This is definitely a deeper lineup. It's definitely a more accomplished lineup. As we see Lotta warming up, and we were talking, Nikhil and I had mentioned that bringing in Lotta into the attack would probably maybe a great change of pace with that big delivery of his, maybe catch some of one of these two batters unawares. They need a breakthrough at this point if they want to have any hope, because they are motoring down the highway in Toyota Tundra style.
Yes, Brian, Lada and Pranto Ahmed, certainly two of the best bowlers. And this one, look at this one, hoisted straight down the ground from Anthony Bramble. And that has gone for another boundary, gone for 6.
Yeah, well, so much for that. He sees the first delivery really well and belts that one out into the brambles, so to speak, out near the creek. As we see it again, that big looping delivery. And when you have that sort of action, we talked about it yesterday when he had his big numbers, when he had that big spell. When you bowl that style, it's all about the line. If you bowl the ball too short, the spin is going to become more apparent. It's almost telegraphed to the batter, and they're able to pick that out a lot easier. If it's too full, then it's almost like a curveball in baseball. You see the ball coming really well out of the bowler's hand, and you're able to do that. If you're able to bowl that at more of a Yorker length to kind of catch the batters unaware, then that's when it's most effective, as we have a little delay as they go and try and chase down the ball. We've seen a couple of instances where third umpire Rushane Samuels has had to bring out the box of onions, and they've had to pick out a new one. I don't think there's any. We were talking about it when you were here last month. I don't think we've seen any snakes back there, thankfully.
So Anthony Bramble and Dominic Rickey off to a rapid start. They're going at almost 11 runs and over. And the DC Hogs just posting 125, really found short in so many departments of the game, Brian. But they're up against a New Jersey Stallion team that continues to do well, continues to put points on the table. And they look unbeatable at the moment. So Sarabjit Singh Lada, top quality bowler. He's among the wickets, some 45 or 46 career minor league wickets so far. And this one in the air again from Anthony Bramble. And that one has gone all the way. So another couple of sixes in a row off the bat of Anthony Bramble. And this is not a good start here from Singlada.
A slower ball, and this one, I guess, would be characterized as a good length. But Bramble comes down the track and picks it up nicely and hoists it, as Latta, you could see, was trying, I guess he was listening to me, trying to come in a little bit more of a length of a ball. But that's the other thing as well. You don't want to bowl too close to the stumps, because if you, in terms of pitch, because if you do that, you see a batter like Bramble, who has his eye in, is perfectly capable of coming down the track a couple of steps and really just unleashing it.
So 53 runs short of 126. We've seen a big knock here from Anthony Bramble, got player of the match yesterday. And the way things are going here, Brian, he could be a candidate for another back-to-back player of the match. He's up on 45, and the way he is batting, he's only one strike away from getting to a half century.
And only 21 deliveries faced so far. As there we see umpire Rushane Samuels with his box of wares here. You know, and it's interesting to see the Stallions. You know, we talked about, and we were talking about as an aside before we came on air, you know, we see some of these clubs coming out of the Pacific Conference. The Dallas Mustangs, who have already wrapped up the Central Division regular season championship, the Silicon Valley Strikers, who are very, very close to do so. What team, you know, we're looking pretty far ahead, but what team out of this conference can do it? You know, the Stallions are definitely, I think, putting a lot of answers, possibly, and questions into the minds of those who will be looking at the final series, which kicks off the weekend of August 20th, that they may be the ones to possibly get back into the grand final and take down the Silicon Valley Strikers, all the stars that they have. But I mean, obviously, it's a long way between here and there, but when you're playing with this sort of quality, I mean, that really just shows the mark of a potential champion.
So a couple of sixes in this over. Bramble is up on 45. Will just need a massive strike. It allows the ball to go through the offside. And Brian, what we have seen in other tournaments around the world, they usually park the car that is part of the prize somewhere on the field, give you an opportunity to try and hit the car.
In this economy?
We'll probably need to get the Tundra into the hitting range of Anthony Bramble.
Hope somebody has good insurance with that.
So 12 off this over, a couple of massive sixes off the bat of Anthony Bramble. He's really played well. Oh, he's so pensive on that one. We'll get a single, brings Dominic Ricky on to strike. But they're off to a quick start here, 74 without loss.
Yeah, and the luxury of being where they are now, of putting up those numbers so early, is that he doesn't have to swing. He can watch some of those. He can take some of those and just play the ones that he feels comfortable hitting.
So quality delivery to end over number 7. After 7.
I think there may have been a wide in there, I believe. So they have one more delivery to come.
Yeah, this is a quality delivery here from Lada. Is beating Dominic Ricky.
A good mini comeback from him after giving up those 2 massive sixes. Able to induce a couple of dot balls.
So Ricky gets a good ball that closes out over number 7. 75 without loss.
Well, Anthony Bramble is very, very close to a half century on 46 runs from 23 balls, as the New Jersey Stallions trying to chase down that target of 126 to win. And you can see they are well ahead of where the DC Hawks were, and their pace as well. And it's going to take something special from here on out for the Hawks to rescue 2 points, and you might argue, their season, as both of the 2 teams at the top of this ladder are putting some distance between themselves and the rest of the team as Nasser Islam comes in.
So Nasser Islam, he's played at the U.S. national level. And a man who would have played at the time, Brian, in which the U.S. team back then was captained by Richard Staple. A player who would have played for the U.S. team. Might have played under the captaincy of Steve Messiah at one time. Around 1995 or around that area, would have played national cricket for the U.S. Well, he comes in here with a man of the moment, Anthony Bramble. How brilliant he's been today. He's in his 40s, approaching a 50. It's going to be a quality one if he gets to it.
Yeah, at 41 yesterday, and I think he's definitely seeing the ball a bit better today. And we see a lot of these instances where players have 2 really good games back to back.
So wide is the signal. We've seen 13 extras in the innings so far. Certainly not helping the cause there, especially when you make 125. And so they'll be under the pump in terms of giving up so many extras we saw from Pranto Ahmed. And Brian, so much to read come tomorrow on DAFA News. What information they have provided us from this minor league series, DAFA News.
Yep, and they've done so well to cover this tournament and this competition and really all the things that are happening in U.S. international and domestic cricket.
So big appeal. Not outside his umpire me here, and play will continue. 76 without loss.
And of course, you can catch all the things that are happening in minor league cricket, minorleaguecricket.com. I'll be doing the write-up from all the matches across the league this week, so stay tuned for some car puns, if that's your bag. Of course, with our sponsors, Toyota and Sunoco in tow.
So this has been a very good over here from Nasser Islam, barring the only wide that we have seen in this over. Well, other than that, this has been a quality one, but still, no wickets to fall yet. All 10 wickets in hand. They need just 50 runs to win this game.
And you definitely want to help the run rate, but you also don't want to do anything stupid.
So ball cut away into the offside. This has been a quality. Oh, in fact, they go now for one. Delayed single. And that will close out over number 8, 77 without loss.
My son is so soft-spoken. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
What's up, Dad? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
So Lada will continue. While Bramble is approaching a half century here, Brian. Important to mention, Brian highest scored this series has been 57 not out against the Lauderdale Lions. And we're just about there for Anthony Bramble. 77 without loss. Struck and struck well. Out to the man in the deep, and this has gone away for 4. So 4 runs off the bat of Anthony Bramble. Has that brought up the 50 for the man? I think it has. 81 without loss.
Yeah, and a very, very clinical, very well-deserved 50 from the man, and Anthony Bramble, who has really, as we mentioned, seen the ball well, and they have thrown everything and the kitchen sink at the Guyanese batter, and he has done very well and may very well be on his way to sealing another Toyota Tundra Man of the Match nomination.
So a lovely innings so far from Anthony Bramble. And this one again is pulled into the onside. More runs there for Anthony Bramble. And he picks up another boundary. So what's happening here? Anthony Bramble taking the fight to Sarbjeet Singh Lada. And now this one is gone for 6.
Yeah, so this one is up in the air and away, and Bramble is hitting them really pretty much all over the place. And we'll check his stats here in just a moment. But you can tell, and they've lost another ball. So it's a good thing they brought all of those extras, because especially with all of those, as we mentioned, the reeds back there. But Bramble doing well, and this is the sort of thing, you know, he's done well as an opener. As we get in towards more of these games of consequence, this is when he's going to need to have more of these matches like this. And if you can have an opener carry his bat the way that Bramble does, even if he ends up getting out late in the chase when the game's just about salted away, it'll be pretty fantastic.
So 5-6 for Anthony Bramble. Batted impressively well. And Sarbjeet Singh Lada, typically a better bowler than that. So 87 without loss, 39 to win. Closing in on to more points. They'll put 14 points on the table. And the Yorkers comes next.
And then after that is the Empire State Titans, who are in action against the New England Eagles. We'll check that score for you in just a moment.
Solada has gone for 10 in this over. More runs here for Anthony Bramble. Look at that. That has gone away for another boundary. So Anthony Bramble on fire here at Exton Park. That's another boundary for him.
And his 6th, and again, they've sent out the search party. But as we see this again, coming again, you know, we were talking about how bringing in Lada might change the picture, but the song remains the same, as Led Zeppelin used to say. Another mid-length ball and another 6. As we mentioned, by the way, very quickly, New England Eagles taking on Empire State Titans. The Titans currently sitting in 3rd place on points. The Eagles batting first, bowled out for 104 in the 18th over.
So 16 off this over. Anthony Bramble cutting will get a single. So things are on the way here for New Jersey Stallion. They have done so well and continues to motor along. I'm pretty sure they're fueled up from Sunoco. They've really gotten the fuel really to bring them this far, and it looks like they're going to put 14 points by the end of this match.
And they may very well be going places, as our friends at Toyota might say as well, going back to possible grand final.
And Dominic Ricky is supported well. You look at the card, they're 94 without loss. Dominic Ricky has allowed Anthony Bramble to continue his dominance. We saw his highest score in the series being 57 against the Lauderdale Lions. So that will complete. In fact, they'll come back for a couple of runs. A good-looking shot here from Dominic Ricky. And that will complete over number 9. It's 96 without loss.
Down the ground this time, straight back
here's
over the bowler's head.
At Anthony Bramble. Six off the bat of Bramble.
And
Bramble gets a 4. Rarely 4 we saw in the innings from Anthony Bramble.
Just creating room
Here's a lovely shot that cleared Exton Park. He continued to bat aggressive. 6 there off the bat of Anthony Bramble into the offside. This is not an easy ground to clear, but he found a way over the ropes. Off the back foot, off the bowling of Lada. Smashes this one into the onside. Here's one that went for 4, a couple of bounces there. So Anthony Bramble on the charge. This is where he got his 50. He was on 47, got 51. Anthony Bramble, well played, a half century for him. His second one in this minor league series, Brian. He's had a very good knock today.
Yeah, very good in good batting conditions. The weather, you know, a little on the humid side, but not terrible. It's in the mid-80s, good weather like we had yesterday.
So the action continues. Nasser Islam, we saw him bowling a quality first over.
There was a huge shout on that one.
Yeah, Nasser Islam, he's a quality bowler, but look at the domination of Anthony Bramble. He's really put Stallions on the front page, so to speak. DAFA News for the best in cricket coverage, and certainly we'll have a lot to say about this innings here from Anthony Bramble. He's really played superb. And the way things are looking here, they're on course with just about 28 runs remaining.
And in a situation where the division championship or might come down to run rate, this is a good sign.
And the fact is, Brian, not to forget, we saw Stallions, 125 posted by DC Hawks. Credit to their bowling unit. We're seeing the work here of Bramble and Dominic Ricky, but we can't forget what a sterling work done by the bowlers.
Yeah, if you don't have a good bowling performance, you don't have, you know, you don't have this, and that's the key. Cricket is very much a team game, and you need to be able to perform well with bat and ball and in the field.
So 99 on the board. Anthony Bramble now has scored his highest score in this year's minor league, surpassing 57 earlier on. Dominic Ricky has played a very good hand. They're up to 99 for no loss.
You talk about that bowling attack. Nico Henry, the pick of the bowlers earlier, 3 for 27 from his 4 overs. All 5 of the batters used.
So ball worked into the onside, and that brings up the 100 here for the Stallions. They continue to play well. They continue to find runs easy to come. 100 without loss. So 10 of us gone, 100 without loss.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your trousseau, the 2022 Tundra. Toyota, let's go places.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
So a lovely day here at Exton Park in Philadelphia. As we welcome back into the box, Matt, you've been to Exton Park several times, but it continues to look beautiful. We've seen a lot of good cricket, and we've seen dominating cricket here from Dominic Ricky and Anthony Bramble. Welcome back into the box.
Yeah, they've made light work of this chase so far. Just 24 runs required. Ball's not really relevant. 59 to go on wickets. Even better, they haven't lost any.
You take a look at this one. Arsh Arora coming around, trying to put a little bit of fight what is left of the DC Hawks. But this Stallions lineup, this is a tough team to beat.
Yeah, they really are, and especially when you've got Anthony Bramble firing on all cylinders. And Dominic Ricky has done a very good job in supporting him as well. 23 to Ricky, 21 rather.
So Behera comes into the attack. Behera comes into the attack, Matt. With just about little remaining here, just about 24 runs remaining. What a knock we saw from Anthony Bramble. He got to his highest minor league score this year.
Yeah, he's batted well today as Anthony Bramble.
And Matt, the fact is probably he was under no pressure at all with just 125 posted. Well, what credits to their bowling unit for restricting the DC Hawks to a mere 125, and it's becoming a very easy chase here if there's really a chase.
Not really chasing the game anymore, are the New Jersey Stallions, given they need 23 from 56, well ahead of things at the moment over the DC Hawks.
So Behera with just about 22 runs to get, Matt. Things are winding down here. Big appeal, another wide. This time Brian Kane, not fooled by the appeal at all.
Very indisciplined day indeed from the DC Hawks. 15 wides. We saw quite a few from Pranto Ahmed in his first over. A couple of them that would have gone for 4.
So Brian Kane just indicating to the batsman how many are left in the over. And I know when you bowl several wides, it looked like such a lengthy over. Not a big shot here from Anthony Bramble. And that has gone for another boundary. What a shot from Anthony Bramble again.
Yeah, lovely shot all the way for 6 again from Anthony Bramble. Dealing in 6s, 7 of them to his name. And he motors on up to 72. Just 39 deliveries. Brilliant knock from him so far. Take a look at this one. Fuller one from Rasesh Behera, and given the treatment by Bramble.
Go in the field, guys. Go in the field, please. Thank you.
So the New Jersey Stallions 111 without loss. It's been a clinical batting display.
Runs again, this time in the offside. Work to be done. Thank you very much, Lenny Aichibar. Coming back for a second as well. So, well on top, well on their way. And just 13 runs away from victory. The New Jersey Stallions, a game well set up by the bowlers, but the way that both these two, the openers, have commanded the situation, making use of this opportunity. to chase a low total. They got a brilliant start, 60 in the first 6 overs. Oh, look at that, bit of extra bounce, zipping past the outside edge. Ends the over. And now the score after 11, 113 for none.
1, 2, 3.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Well, this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. You can see some of the Manhattan Yorkers players in attendance arriving to the ground. They'll be in action for the first time this weekend here in Pennsylvania. Bhaskar Yadram, John Campbell, Gajanan Singh, left of screen. That's coming your way at 2 p.m. But here, we still got a game on our hands. A game which has been all the way to the Stallions, and it continues down the leg side. More runs and a wides. By signaled. Surprising that that's not a wide, Matt. It was down the leg side. Wide's not given.
Yeah, definitely looks sliding down the leg side. And had it clipped anything on the way through, it would have been runs or a leg by. So a bit interesting, that one. The by signal.
Yeah.
Interesting decision from the umpire. So for Nasiras Islam. Umpire signaling buys. You can even hear there Jaskar Malhotra, the captain of the fielding team, asking the umpire if it was wides or buys. He's almost selling himself out, Malhotra, but nonetheless they get away with one. And there'll still be 4 runs to the total. Now only 8 runs required. This Stallions team, Matt, remember they were runners-up in 2021. We'll be very happy with the way now they've started. If they win here, they'll go to 8-2, and a very hard team to beat in this Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they really have, the New Jersey Stallions. And just like last year, again, the numbers perhaps not really in favor. You look at the stats will tell you that the Stallions, in terms of like leading run scorers and all of that, not many of like the top leading run scorers in the tournament come from the New Jersey Stallions, but they just get those performances. Like today it was Anthony Bramble, yesterday it was Raymond Ramratan. They just work as a team and everybody does their job. And so far it's worked very well for them both last year and now so far this year.
Well, we were on commentary with Brian Barish earlier. It was important for Dominic Ricky that not only gets a start, but takes the game all the way for his team. He's done just that because he's had Bramble, who struck at 185 at the other end. It's allowed Ricky to just play in to his strength, work the ball around, look to rotate the strike. It's been good from the Stallions. Such a good all-round team, an all-round performance, and you're spot on. I think the difference, though, between last year and this year is that last year they peaked sort of towards the end of the tournament. Now they're showing that they can put together strong performances from the very onset. Losing the 2 games, the New Jersey Stallions. And remember, unbeaten now for the 4th time, chasing. Reverse sweep. Straight to the man. Score. We'll end the over. End of 12. 120 for none.
Chalo, come on.
Bramble dominance so far for the Stallions. 75 of just 43 deliveries, 3 4s and 7 6s to his name. Dominic Ricky has had a very good contribution as well, 26.
Well, all of that batting still to come. Won't probably be necessary with just 6 runs needed. 1 strike away as the Yorkers arrive at Exton Park. Of course, we'll be looking to get their first win of the weekend. Good short delivery, delivery to Dominic Ricky. So basically the inevitable in terms of a win, and more importantly, Matt, if they can get it done in this over, 42 balls to spare really helps your net run rate. They're already sitting up top of the table in the Eastern Conference, and you want to have a good standing so that you face the second place team in terms of when that playoffs do come around.
Yeah, the net run rate, Stallions will be looking to get it done as quick as possible.
In the air, has he thrown it away, Ricky? He has. I think he wants he's asking a question about height, and it is a no ball signal. So you have seen this a couple of times, a couple of deliveries very full over the waist. Dominic Ricky will immediately ask the question, and Brian Kane signaling free hit.
Yeah, short one from Ricky. I think it was because he had balled two high bounces on Dominic Ricky. So now a chance to finish the game in just one ball with the free hit, Dominic Ricky.
That's interesting because the ruling, just one for the over and then bowling the second one in succession. So free hit coming up for Dominic Ricky. Will be looking to finish the game off. Well bowled again, wide, even though it was a full toss, just be a single. Yeah, we're looking at this table, Matt. 9 games for the Stallions before today, now 10. They'll go to 8 and 2, 16 points. And you look at the other teams, even if the Titans were to win their remaining 4 games, currently in 3rd position, they would only end up on 18. So the Stallions are well set in terms of returning to the playoffs for the 2nd season consecutively. And even their big players, Bramble and Paul Palmer and others, haven't really come to the fore. What a shot that is. Over the top, over the infield. And a boundary for Anthony Bramble to win the game in style for his team. Huge victory for the New Jersey Stallions. Been a clinical all-round performance from the runners-up from 2021. Boy, have they been a force to be reckoned with in this tournament.
Doesn't matter if they played or not.
Yeah, Anthony Bramble, lovely way to finish it. Beautiful shot up and over. Has batted exceptionally well so far. And finishes off in quite some bit of fashion. The New Jersey Stallions taking care of the DC Hawks, extending their lead above the rest. And the Manhattan Yorkers, I'm sure they'll be watching this win very closely and realizing they've got a big game against the Philadelphians.
41 yesterday for Bramble, 76 today again. So this weekend has been a finding of form for him. And he's now looking to be into that unstoppable state that oppositions will fear. But a good opening stand by these two, ensuring that they get over the line. 80 it is, sorry, for Bramble. Ensuring that their team got over the line from the very onset, winning it into the 13th over as well. Excellent from this pairing. For the DC Hawks, well, the batting, just not enough runs on the board. It was always going to be tough to defend 125. In terms of the batting display from the Stallions, well, simple for them, knowing exactly what they need to chase, just above a run a ball. And because of that explosive start where they got to 60 in the power play, 80 from Bramble, and of course Dominic Ricky supporting him well with 24. Pretty simple going in the end. Bowling.
It's been a tough day at the office here for the DC Hawks. Not quite going their way. Pranto Ahmed, Sarabjit Lada, the 2 star bowlers, are both expensive. Nasser Islam, however, did have a pretty good day, but in the end it was all Stallions' dominance with the bat. Not much to say for the DC Hawks.
Yeah, real good performance from the New Jersey Stallions, following up their win yesterday, now going undefeated on this 6th weekend of this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. In the end, very easy, just chasing it inside at the 13th over. Well set up by their bowlers. Nino Henry picked up 3, Jesse Singh with 2. So it will help their cause now with the win. Here are the highlights of how this innings would have played out. It was pretty much dominance from the very beginning. Dominic Ricky just pushed the ball around in the gaps. So strong. A couple of wides that didn't help the DC Hawks. 61 runs came in the first 6 overs. And Anthony Bramble, well, the power of this man. He's not a man you want to see get away. And after he played a couple big strokes, you just knew today would be his day. Dominic Ricky supported him well with it, squeezing a couple past the infield inside the power play. And Bramble again just showed that he can really hit the ball to all parts, especially in the power play. It's a move that they've recently made, putting Bramble up the order in the absence of Akshay Homaraj, which has helped. That was another boundary. And, well, it was just the Bramble show. The man from Guyana, 80 from 43, a strike rate of 186. They were yet to take any wickets. The DC Hawks, a big hit into the offside, and then showing that he has the game along the ground as well, even in a slowish outfield. Anthony Bramble, boy, was he magnificent to watch, and it helps. Clearly, they have a remedy. He went to his 50 in style, Bramble. They like just bowling first and restricting teams. They mentioned that they're unbeaten when chasing totals. Anthony Bramble struck 7 maximums, 4 yesterday, 7 today, 11 over the weekend. When you talk about the Philadelphia Cricket Festival, it's been all about entertainment. Anthony Bramble's been at the forefront. Look for him on Dafa News. And he's been fantastic. Dominic Ricky supported him well. Was able to nudge the ball around and ensuring that he had support at the other end so that these two could build a stable partnership. And then that was the one hit to win it all over the point region. And in terms of the points table now in the Eastern Conference, well, the Stallions well in command, well in control. First position, going up to now 14 points in that table. And, well, it's for the others now to play catch-up, because the Yorkers will be in action later today. Remember, only 2 teams from this Eastern Conference can progress to the next stages. But the New Jersey Stallions showing why they were runners-up in 2021, looking to do one better. And which better man to speak to than the captain himself, Jasdeep Singh. You know, Jasdeep, we opted to talk to you today because even though Anthony Bramble was so brilliant, the way you've led this team, not only today but throughout the tournament, to be now 8-2, really deserves, 8-2, it really deserves tons of credit. And what do you think has been the key for you as skipper?
I think the key is the strong characters in the team. You know, we have run into some close games, but it's just, you know, when you have strong character in the team, you find ways to pull out the game somehow. But that is, you know, yeah, we've been getting very close games, but I wouldn't say we've been getting lucky. It's the characters guys show and the kind of, you know, effort they put in, and that's what's been, you know, working for us. That worked for us last year. And hopefully we can, you know, peak at the right time this year.
You mentioned 2021. It's clear that you guys have kept a lot of your local core together, yourself, Raymond Ramratan, Sateja Mukamala, and others. How important has that been in sort of sustaining the performances and keeping you guys in sort of the reckoning for a playoff spot, you know, as the tournament's progressed?
I mean, it's all about believing in the guys, right? Yeah, you get a couple of quality players from outside, and pro players have, you know, good experience, but then at the same time, you want to back your local players as well. And you know, the team and the franchise itself has a motto that, you know, by the end of the year, you want to be able to produce a cricketer or two to the next level. If you're not able to do that, and I think, you know, I personally think that you fail as a team and a management. So, yeah, you know, couple of, you know, mottos team have, and we're backing the guys up, and you know, I'm glad, you know, Ray is doing well for us, and it's only a matter of time when Sai steps up and, you know, put some good runs on the board as well.
On a personal note, 2 important wickets for yourself today. You bowled well as batted well for your team. How important, Jesse, with a, you know, USA place in sight, how important and how hungry are you for success in this minor league to help you get back to that level?
I mean, I take my every game serious, whether it's a club game or this. Obviously, this is a great competition, so it brings the best out of you. For me, it's just trusting the process. You know, I haven't been picking a lot of wickets, but, you know, I'm trying to stick to the process and still do the right things, bowl well, you know, do what I can, do the best on the field, help however I can win the team. And as far as USA, you know, any cricketer, is a dream for him to represent the country. And every time I get opportunity, I'm thankful and grateful. And anytime I get opportunity, I'll be, you know, happy to put my hand up and perform.
Well said, Jesse. All the best to you, and congrats again on your team's win.
Thank you, Nick.
Jasdeep
Cheers.
Singh, the captain, and 2 wickets for him today for the New Jersey Stallions. A team that now are in good stead of making those playoffs. 2 other teams will search, the Philadelphians and the Manhattan Yorkers, coming to you at 2 p.m. live from Exton Park, Pennsylvania. You don't want to miss all the action that we've had in this minor league tournament. So don't go anywhere, because very soon we'll have the action in this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, of course, presented by Sunoco, Daffy News. All of our corporate partners. It's been great to have them on board. Look forward to seeing you soon.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Catch it,